For the first time ever, the world's biggest chess YouTuber, GothamChess, with over 5 million fans worldwide, is stepping away from the screen and onto the board. His opponent, a true chess legend, Grandmaster Pia Kremling, a pioneer, a champion, and a force in the chess world for decades. This match isn't just about skill, it's a collision of generations. Levy.rozman, known as GothamChess, dreams of becoming a grandmaster himself one day. But Pia, she's held the title since before he was born. Can Levy's drive, ambition, and hunger to claim the title stand up against Pia's decades of experience, mastery, and calm, unbreakable focus? This epic battle will be fought across 22 games, 4 intense classical games, 6 fast-paced rapid games, and 12 lightning-speed blitz games where every second counts. The stakes are high, the players are ready, and the world is watching. Welcome to the Battle of Generations.
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the Battle of Generations presented by Surfshark VPN. I am Anna Kremling, and I am joined by the amazing international master, Alex Ostrovsky. Alex, how are you feeling on this beautiful day in Stockholm?
Thank you very much, Anna. I am feeling great, very excited, because today we have day 3, Battle of the Generations. My good friend, the famous internet chess teacher, Levy.rozman, GothamChess, has the white pieces. And I'm feeling good that he's going to come back in this match against none other than
Grandmaster Pia Kremling, who is also my mom. I've been battling this whole commentary on if I should call her Pia or mom, but I am calling her Pia, okay? So that's what I'm doing in this commentary. I'm putting on my big commentator shoes and I'm calling her Pia. But today we have day 3, and today we are going to be seeing a classical game. There's going to be the 3rd classical game of the match. It's going to be a 90-minute plus 30-second game, so it's going to be a long game. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to see any time trouble, because let me tell you, the first day we had some insane time trouble and a lot of chaos, and I am sure that we're going to see that today too. The game is about to start at any moment, and Seeing a thumbs down.
I saw that yesterday too, right? Is this like, if you hold your hands a certain way, is that going to toggle it? It's nothing personal.
It's nothing personal. I
Yeah.
don't know. We just see a thumbs down on my mom. That is actually really funny. Yeah, the game can start now at any point. But, yesterday, Alex, we saw quite a short game. I mean, it was only a 14-move game. I am sure that today we're gonna be seeing a long game. Like, I don't think at all we're gonna be seeing a game as short as the one yesterday. In fact, I don't think we're gonna see that in any of the future games.
Maybe the Blitz games, but only by time.
Only by time.
Only by time, not the move count. No, I completely agree. To catch all our lovely viewers up to speed, this is day 3, game 3 of the classical portion. The first game, long fight, but the victory went to Grandmaster Pia Kramling. By the way, in this format, the classical games, they are worth 3 points each. So we have a classical, rapid, and blitz portion. The games are going to be worth 3 points in the classical, 2 points in the rapid, and 1 point in the blitz. So for her victory, Grandmaster Pia Kramling earned 3 points. Yesterday's draw gave both players 1.5 points, so that brings the total 4.5, 1.5. And today, Levy, he's got the white pieces. He's going to need to score a victory to catch up in this match.
And this match is going to be a long match. We're seeing a mix of different time controls. We're seeing a mix of classical, rapid, and blitz. And the whole prize fund that we have for this is $10,000 presented by Surfshark VPN, which we're so excited about. There's going to be $6,000 for the winner of this match and $4,000 for the loser. But apart from that money, of course, there's a lot of honor on the line. You know how it is being a chess player. You're playing a 1v1 match with 22 games. You absolutely do not want to lose. And I think that the match in general is going to be very close. Now, just like Alex was mentioning, these classical games do have the most point for grabs per game. So they're now fighting for 3 points in each of these games. And that is why it's so important to score well in these games. We've said that Pia probably has an edge in the classical. We will see who has the edge in rapid, and then Lavi should probably have the edge in blitz. But we are not going to know that until we see what happens in this match. So the moves are starting.
Okay, there we go. I was seeing them on the board, and I was in the back of my mind, I was thinking, hopefully the GC board is nice and functional. But here it is. We have the moves. Shout out to our arbiter who was making sure everything's running smoothly. And the past couple days, I've been disclosing, hey, this is what I expected Levy to play. This is what I didn't expect. So allow me to do the honors once again.
Do the honors. I want to know.
Now, today, I don't have a lot of information. Today, I knew that Levy was going to play the move c4, the English opening.
Okay.
However, I didn't even know what his second move was going to be. And I also didn't even know what Pia's first move was going to be. But now we can see it all together. We have c4, e5. This is what we call right now the reverse Sicilian. It's as if we have e4, c5, except in this case we have c4, e5. So the most principled approach from black here, fighting for the center. Levy develops with knight c3, and now we have bishop b4. So again, as I mentioned, it's a reverse Sicilian opening. Now we have sort of a reverse Rosslimo opening, which is the equivalent of white bringing the bishop to b5, and Levy responds with queen c2. Anna, is this something you have experience with on either side?
I will be honest and say that whenever people play c4 against me, I just play c5 and I play something called the Wedberg system or Wedberg-systemet. I don't know if there's another word in English, but it's basically just, you copy a lot of what white is doing. And it's, when they go for these ideas of a3, b4, and I go a5 and rook b8 and b5. Yeah, if you know what I mean. So I just play c5. I never play e5. I will say, though, that it doesn't look as if Pia is that uncomfortable. She's been playing these moves very quickly. So it doesn't look as if she's been caught by surprise by Levy playing c4. Now, what is his reasoning behind playing 1c4? Because does he play that very often?
Yeah, he does. Pia did mention this, I believe, in one of the post-mortems. She was saying, it's very interesting to play, or maybe she even mentioned it in the confessional booth, which is another great feature we have in this match, which I'm sure we'll be able to see the players in there today and get their thoughts. But I believe she mentioned, it's very interesting to see what Levy's going to play because he has such a big opening repertoire, a vast opening repertoire. He can play many ideas. And indeed, c4, the English opening, is something that he does play. He did play d4 in game 1, just normal queen's pawn opening. So he changes it up here. And I'm not completely sure exactly if there's some brilliant reasoning behind it. This is going to be the weak spot in Pia's repertoire. He actually, funnily enough, he did tell me, she could play the symmetrical. He did mention that to me.
Yeah.
And I think he was actually happy. I think he's happy she didn't because the symmetrical, it's very solid. It's an opening, it's literally symmetry, right? You're copying your opponent. So I think he's happy to get a more imbalanced position because he's down 3 points in the match. He wants to get them back and he wants to strike back at this game.
And for him, it's going to be very important to strike back in the classical, I think, because I think my mom's best chance in this match is going to be to try to take as big of a lead as possible during the classical, so that if things don't go as well in the blitz or in the rapid, she still has a lot of extra points, right? So I think that for Levy, it's going to be really important to try to equalize the classical as much as possible for him to have really good chances in this match. So we're going to see what happens. I do feel like, though, from Pia's body language, she seems pretty comfortable, in my opinion. She definitely seems comfortable. And I think also now that it's been a few days, she's getting more into the match. Yesterday, after the game, when it finished so quickly, she kept telling me, she was like, Anna, I feel empty. I want to play chess. Like, I don't want the game to be so quick. Like, I want to play more chess. So she was definitely looking forward to the game today. And she was very excited. And, she even took a yoga class yesterday night.
Really?
Yeah. My mom,
did you go?
No, I didn't join. But my mom, she texted me. She was like, Anna, I've been to yoga class. It was so nice.
So this is very interesting because you told me before the first game in this match, the day before she actually played a tournament. She played a blitz tournament the whole day, and now she's doing yoga before the game of the match. So she's preparing not just at the board, just not at the board, but not just at the computer, I guess. Looking over different opening moves. She's preparing mentally, spiritually, all sorts of ways.
And I think it's fun because people may think, oh, well, there's the battle of generations. She's 61 years old. She is probably not so active. That is absolutely not true. Pia Kremling is the most active person that I know. She runs several times a week. She eats super healthily. And I think that's honestly why she also can keep playing at this level at this age. I think that is really important to stay healthy, but also to stay with a very sharp mind. So she definitely tries to do all those things. She's way more active than I am when it comes to physical things.
So she truly is an inspiration for you in all facets of life.
She is, she is. At some point in my life, I'll also start taking yoga classes. Have you ever taken a yoga class?
Well, funnily enough, no, but my mom is actually a part-time yoga instructor. It's not her job. She's just super into yoga, and she's been getting into it, and she's trying to get me into it. And it's I like to play basketball. I like to go to the gym, but I have no flexibility. So I'm very scared. I feel like the first time I try yoga, I'm going straight to the ER.
Yeah.
So as long as they're next to each other, the yoga studio and the emergency room, maybe then I'll try it.
Maybe then you'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm a very non-flexible person as well, so I completely agree with you. Okay, so let's see what's happening on the board. We've seen now knight f6 and then knight f3 being played quite quickly by Levy. He's been playing really quickly the past few openings. And I am honestly not really that familiar with playing this opening with black. What are right now the key ideas in how to develop for black?
Yeah, so if I just go back a moment here, because in this, oops, that was not intentional. In this English opening, the move order here is quite interesting. So Pia starts off with a very rapid move, bishop b4. Now black has many options here. There's this I guess advice that a lot of players get when they start out. It's called knights before bishops. Have you ever heard that one?
I have not.
You have not? Yeah, actually it was quite late in my chess playing career till I heard this as well, but it kind of makes sense because the point is that you usually want to bring your knights to the center, and the bishops, they kind of have a lot of squares, so maybe you decide that later. But the main line in this position, and we'll compare it to what happens in the game, or one of the main lines I should say, is that black will develop one of the knights. Now white has a choice. They can fianchetto this bishop, or as Levy seems to be doing in this game, bring out the knights to the center, and then black can often hold back on playing bishop b4 until a later moment. For example, this is one possible variation. Levy has also played this way before. He's played both e3 and g3, as far as I remember. And there's a line here that goes bishop b4, and now white goes queen c2. Now, if we compare this position to what happened in the game, Pia starts off with bishop b4. This move is actually a little bit provocative. Levy doesn't go for it, but the main line for white here is knight to d5, trying to exploit the position of the bishop. But he goes queen c2, so I think he's trying to maybe transpose into those positions we just looked at. Knight f6, knight f3. And here I think Pia was taking some time because if she plays knight to c6, this transposes into the main line, but she goes queen e7 instead. So she's sort of delaying this development of the knight on b8, perhaps giving herself some extra flexibility in the position. Maybe, I don't really know if this is going to happen, but it could. perhaps the knight can go to d7. So it's a very sort of cagey, nuanced approach from both players, trying to figure out the proper move order already by move 5.
And move order is so important because move order can completely change the game. Sometimes when you do a little bit of a tricky move order, the opponent might not exactly know what is happening and they might want to transpose at any cost to a variation that they know.
Is this personal experience? It sounds very personal now. Now that I disagree.
It is quite personal because it feels better to play something you've seen in the books. You know for sure, for a fact, that this is good. You know exactly what the evaluation of your position is then. So move order is really important, and there's a lot of ways of psychologically tricking your opponent when it comes to move order. I will be honest, I think for me, one of those games was when I played Alexandra Botas this summer. I played her, and I was really trying to get back to an opening that I know, but she was delaying her castling, and I castled, and then she got an attack on my king, and it changed the game completely. So yeah, absolutely this can happen. So we see Queen e7 as the last move, and now Levy has started thinking a little bit. Maybe he wasn't fully expecting this move.
Yeah, I think that this entire approach with bishop b4, again, I don't know everything that Levy knows, but I think he's definitely not 100% familiar with this exact move order. Now, the good news for him is that it's a position where it's not one of these super sharp positions where it's like, oh no, I forgot my move, and now I'm in trouble. He has a lot of very sensible moves. For example, for me, the most natural move would be a3 here, just attacking that bishop. And now the bishop has to get traded for the knight on c3, because if you retreat it, I'm going to play b4, and we would have a short game today as well, although a decisive one.
Way.
Yeah, but of course this is not what's going to happen. So I believe, there's this nuances where now black has to take a c. White can some positions you can take with the pawns, but taking with the queen seems more natural because why double them? You attack this pawn on e5, and now black can even play the move e4. This could be an interesting idea. Yeah, so you give up this bishop, but you're also kind of trying to get these tempi in the center. So this is one idea, and then again, we see that not putting the knight on c6, perhaps in some positions, not necessarily right now, will give black the opportunity to play c5. So kind of fighting for the center in this way. So I'm actually pretty sure that Levy is basically out of book, as we like to say, meaning that he's not really following any preparation. We can see that with his time usage, but it's also a position where I think he can kind of come up with plans on his own without necessarily knowing them in advance.
For sure. Of course, I think what's going to happen then maybe is that he's going to spend a little bit more time, and we might see that the player here that is less familiar might spend more time in the opening. And we saw the first day what happens if you spend a lot of time, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that Levy's going to keep in mind. And the game one, he seems to have a promising position, but he spent almost 25 minutes on a move, and later that time, he really wished he had it back because he didn't have time to properly defend his position. So yeah, I think right now, we do have the clocks, by the way, right? We have the clocks nice in the corner.
We have the clocks over there. And once again, if you get a little bit confused about the point system, and why it says classical 1.5 and 0.5, but it says then 4.5 and 1.5, is because we're not following a typical chess point system. We are giving 3 points for all the wins in classical. We're giving 2 points for all the wins in rapid, and 1 point for the wins in blitz. So we're still at the classical portion, but very soon we're going to be going to much faster time controls. Rapid and blitz is happening in just a couple of days, and we're so excited to see it. But before we continue, we've been getting a lot of questions of, okay, who are you guys?
Yeah, who are you anyway?
That.
Yeah.
So, I thought let's actually talk about who we are. Well, my name is Anna Kramling. I am a chess streamer, chess content creator, daughter of one of the players here. And yeah, me and Levy have been setting up this match for the past few months. I want to hear all about you though, Alex, because maybe a few more people might not know who you are, as you're not as active of a streamer and content creator. Even though you have, done a lot of commentary for Hikaru, and you're here right now, and you might run for best chess streamer of the year.
Hashtag, what is it? Not hashtag, excuse me, exclamation point. What is it in the chat?
Vote.
Vote, yeah.
You can vote for Alex or me or Gotham.
Yeah, you'll have to write me in though. But sure, of course. So my name is Alex Ostrovsky. I'm an international master. I'm from New York. And I'm also a good friend of Levy's, great friend of Levy's. As we've been saying multiple days in stream, I've known Levy longer than you've been alive. So yeah, we've known each other since we were 6 years old. Right now we're 28. Personally, I wouldn't call myself this streamer, but I have appeared in quite a few Twitch streams, whether it's with Anna or Levy or sometimes with Hikaru. So I do like to fill in the role of commentator here and there, but I am mostly a chess player. I have one Grandmaster Norm, so many players on the road to GM, including our beloved GothamChess, sort of, as I like to say, on the sidewalk maybe to GM, maybe not exactly the road, but I'm a chess player, chess coach, and chess commentator as well.
Lots of chess things.
All chess.
All chess.
All
That is
chess.
amazing.
No
But
checkers.
I think it's very obvious that you're a chess coach because you're very good at explaining different positions. And I think that that is an amazing skill. And I think that one can tell that you're, a professional chess coach because of that. And I'm sure that we are all learning together with Alex. I am learning, from the commentary as well. I hope that you guys are all learning because at the end of the day, we're here to watch a match, but we're to learn and try to become a little bit better. So we're seeing here that Levy is spending 7 minutes, which for Levy terms in the opening feels definitely like that's a sign.
Yeah. Like I said, personally, I don't remember all these intricacies here, so I assume he doesn't. Not that I prepared or anything like that, but most of the things that I feel that we do share a little bit of a brain when it comes to some of these lines because we've talked a lot about different chess things. So, but this move order from P in particular, again, with delaying this knight to c6, it has its own nuances. And I think Levy, again, he had to cover a lot of ground. When he played c4, I think he was preparing the symmetrical English. He was preparing this reverse Sicilian English. So perhaps this is just one of those things that slipped through the cracks. He does make a move. He plays a3. He gets a nice shiny green star. I think is the best move. Attack the bishop. Now P is going to have to take on c3, which is one of the main points of bishop b4 anyway. And Levy's going to get the bishop pair. So the question is going to be, is the bishop pair going to be able to show its power later in the middle game? Or will black be able to use these tempi? For example, the white queen is moving for a second time. Perhaps black can quickly attack in the center with moves like e4. Another approach for black after presumably Levy take with the queen, but we'll see if he does. Black can also try to play very solid, like moves like d6, because once you trade off your dark square bishop, you want to start putting pawns on the dark square. And perhaps the next move could be c5 for black as well.
Middle part between these two lights.
Well, my light square
And then
bishop
I also think I'm going to have a clothing rail here
my pawns will control
in
the
the
dark squares,
hallway
and your
area.
bishop pair
So
advantage
the other
will
thing
neutralize
that is
this
important that I need to
So it'll
talk
be a
about
strategically unbalanced
is
game going forward.
all
Bishops are
kinds of
known to
things.
be great pieces in open
And sometimes it
positions,
just
and that
doesn't
is
really
why
work out.
full sense to try to close down the
New
position as
era,
much as
no more
possible if you
sadness.
don't have
I
a
want
bishop there.
to
So we see
build
queen
a
takes
clothing
c3.
rail
This
to
is
go
on the
into
board.
my new
And yeah, I mean,
wardrobe.
it
I am going to be
feels
so
like
fit.
he is
If I
going to
already
play this
didn't
idea
work
of
out,
d6. It
this
looks
would
very solid, it's very
absolutely make me have the
natural. You were
biggest ass
briefly
in the
mentioning
world
ideas
because
of
there's
going
tons
d6 and d5. Well, now
of these
this
spiral
time,
stairs.
so that wouldn't be possible. Maybe that could be possible later on with d6, moving out this bishop, maybe knight d7, and then trying to do something like this. But d6 looks like the most natural move. Maybe you can go knight c6, but my first initial reaction is what happens if white starts trying to play b4 and expand on the queen side.
Yeah, and then bishop b2, and suddenly you're trying to build a really strong pressure on this long diagonal. So yeah, I think the choice for Pia here is d6 is very natural. You defend the pawn. Maybe you also consider pushing e4. But this move also has a downside because you're opening up the long diagonal, which could be bad news if the bishop gets to b2. So definitely d6 seems to be positionally very sound. And I do like that concept of still delaying the move knight c6. It is possible to play knight c6 here though, and perhaps white can play a better move, but actually after knight c6 and something like e3, this would transpose to a different, very well-known variation. So I expect Pia to continue to take advantage of delaying this move and perhaps go for d.
And here she would absolutely play a5. I feel like my playing a5 to prevent d4.
She played in game one.
She did. Yeah. Also, another time when I was playing with her in Team Chess Battle, she always wanted to play a5 to make sure that there's no b4. So I feel like that has been a common theme, and I would be very surprised if she just played knight c6, allowing b4 and not stopping anything. And I guess this is still totally fine, but it just maybe looks slightly unpleasant to allow this.
Yeah, I would definitely like white here because it feels like I have this expansion. I have the bishop on b2, which looks quite strong. So yeah, I don't expect knight c6. It's not a bad move, of course, but for the reasons that you outlined as well. But she is taking some time, so it feels like perhaps both players are, while not exactly totally unfamiliar with the position, are starting to already need to use their brains a little.
For sure, I definitely think she is. I will say though that when Pia is unfamiliar with the position, this clock could be at 1 hour right now. So for me, even if it is, even if she is thinking a few minutes, she likes to really calculate and make sure that everything she's doing is fine. So she definitely double checks things more than maybe what Levy does. But in the chat, in the 4 chats, we're live streaming this to 4 different channels, both me and Gotham, both on Twitch and YouTube. Let us know in all of these chats who you're rooting for. Who do you think is going to be the winner of the Battle of Generations? This is the first time we set up a 1v1 match between 2 completely different people. You know, Levy.rozman coming from New York City, international master, 28 years old, playing a grandmaster, Pia Kramling, who's been a grandmaster for, we kept saying it, but for longer than he's been alive, in Stockholm, in her home base. This is where she was born and raised. I think it's just such a cool concept, and she's 61 years old, hence why we call it the Battle of Generations. I think it's such a cool concept, and we're just so happy to be able to see this happening in front of us.
Do you think that there's a chance there's a second match, but in New York? Because, you know, we're playing in, now that you mentioned, we're playing in Stockholm. This is Pia's hometown, home base. She's got the fans here on her side. Don't you think it's fair?
They're not right there.
Well, you understand what I mean.
I do.
Do you think they should have a, regardless of the result, do you think there should be a New York rematch?
I think something should happen in New York for
Something
sure.
should happen.
Yeah.
We'll
Something
see.
should happen in New York.
But this is all, when did you guys start planning this out?
We started planning this out back in July. So it was a very random idea. I think Levy just one day texted me and was like, Anna, what would happen if I played your mom? Huh? What? And then we started talking about it more seriously, and then we made all of this happen. You know, I love how we've set up the place. I mean, they're playing at Svarta Hästen, a chess bar in Stockholm. And I think, you know, all the clocks and the books in the background, I think it looks so cozy. Like, it makes me want to drink some tea and read a chess book and, like, eat an apple or something. Like, it looks so cozy. And you can see in the background also Levy's book, How to Win a Chess.
So, yeah, if he's feeling, you know, down, he can look at it, and that'll give him a bunch of inspiration. He'll remember all the great advice in his best-selling book, and you know, he'll hopefully be able to show it to the board. But seriously, this does look like an awesome setup. The one thing is, you know, we've talked about this ourselves. It's quite rare. Well, for Levy, I think this is the first match he's ever played, and it's a unique concept because when you're playing tournaments, you know, you're playing lots of different players. There's different people around you. You can look at some games. You can, you know, look at your friends. Here it's you and your opponent every day. They're playing 22 games. They're going to be, Levy and Pia, they're going to be there 6 days in a row. It's very psychologically interesting, right? Like, it's a totally different approach. Like, you need to really think about your opponent much more than normal. So I think it's a really, first of all, cool event, as you mentioned, but also a really cool, unique experience for both of them, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And they're right now in a dead quiet room. The amount of noise canceling that there is in that room is unexplainable. It is impossible for them to hear anything, to the point that if someone, you know, is hungry and their stomach starts rumbling, like, you hear everything in that room. You cannot. It was really funny because I think the arbiter, he wanted to eat a pear, but he didn't dare to eat anything because it's so quiet in that room. You can't have anything. So yeah, it's amazing that we've been able to create that space for them to fully focus and give it their absolute best in the match. And we're seeing her Pia, she's spending quite a lot of time on this move. I'm wondering if she's thinking about d6 and e4. I'm wondering if these are, or knight c6 as well, but I'm wondering if she's actually considering this move e4, if that is the reason she's spending 10 minutes here almost.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that d6, very positionally sound move. But a move like knight c6, right, which also makes sense to defend the pawn, this gives you ideas of d5 as well, right, in one go. So she could be, again, I'm 100% sure she's aware that playing knight c6, if Levy plays e3, like I said, this transposes through a different move order to a well-known theoretical position, although he can try to take advantage of not playing e3. Maybe he can play an accelerated b4 move. So I think this is kind of, also e4, as you mentioned, it's a choice. Do I want to play nice and solid with d6? Or do I already start looking for knight c6, d5, immediate e4? Can I try to grab the initiative early? But it's a little risky because a move like e4, as we mentioned, it opens up this long diagonal. And Levy has the long-term advantage, dark square bishop. So we do see e4 on the board. So Pia is going for the most sort of, I guess, ambitious move here. I think, yeah, again, it's not a bad move. But if I'm white, I'm thinking, okay, if I navigate this smartly, I could come out on top of this sort of idea.
Wow, I must say that I am shocked that she played this move.
She's very solid, you say.
This to me is very surprising, and this to me says a few different things. One, that she feels very comfortable.
Okay.
And two, that she is gonna just push for the win this game.
You think so? You think already this gives the signal that you know yesterday it was a draw. Like you said, she's does the yoga, ready to come back and fight, and she wants the 3 points from classical.
I do think so. I'm very surprised that she played, unless she knows that this is something that you can play that will pose very difficult questions. Yeah, if she knew it from before, then it doesn't have to mean that. But now that she is playing it after thinking for 10 minutes, I think it's a very ambitious move, and I think that means that we're going to be seeing ambitious play from her. And I've said it before, she is typically not the type of chess player to really prefer playing with the white pieces. She quite likes playing with the black pieces. And it doesn't really matter to her if she's playing with white or black. And sometimes I think she even prefers playing with black because she doesn't have the pressure of having to win. So I think she's definitely comfortable. And it felt like Levy was a little bit surprised as well. He kind of jumped up a little bit when this happened. He probably wasn't expecting this move e4 at all. Yeah,
I don't think so either. But I will also mention that just because Pia spent time in this move, it doesn't mean that she didn't know it. This is this happens in my games a lot as well, where sometimes I'll be spending a lot of time, but it's not because I don't know my move. It's sometimes I'm deciding, right? Because here, fundamentally, Pia had a couple of different approaches. Actually, speaking of, I read a pretty funny comment on one of the earlier streams that we did. I think it was a comment in the maybe afterwards, not a live comment, and it was like, it's so confusing to me. They're in the opening, and presumably they prepared very hard, and they know their moves. And it's really bizarre to see them thinking so long. Like, for example, on move 3, they spent 30 seconds. So, it's kind of going. Yeah. And then it's, the thing is, this is not a blitz game, right? First of all, if you guys notice, if you watch the camera feed, we have these score sheets, right? That's not something present when you're playing online. You have to, part of the rules, you have to notate every move here. That takes some time. Your opponent makes a move. You're going to write it down. You're going to put the pen down. You're going to think a little bit. And even if you know the move, you're not just going to bang it out instantly, right? You're not just going to blitz it. So sometimes there is time in the opening. The player spends some time. Doesn't necessarily mean that they don't know the moves. They can just be deciding, or maybe, as Levy said, he's singing songs in his head. And we get a lot of moves now, right? So now the players are just going.
Now they're doing a little bit what we're saying, though. But yeah, it's very uncommon for in classical chess to immediately play a move, even if you know what the move is, because the players have an hour 20 on the clock. They don't have to have this high tension, must play moves super quickly. It's nicer to just be focused, in control. You make a move, you write it down, you see what your opponent does, you react to it in your brain, and you think, okay, am I going to continue with my plan? And then you make a decision. And all of that can take around a minute, even if you know what the move is. Now, one of the things that me and Levy were talking about after the game was that Magnus had talked about talking to your pieces.
Yes.
And this, for me, was really funny because I do that a lot when I'm playing chess. Like, I will literally go, okay, so if I was this bishop, like, where would the best situation for this bishop be? This sounds very strange. But, like, I feel like when you kind of understand where all your pieces are, it's easier to coordinate them. And it sounds very funny. I promise I'm not crazy. But I've seen this phenomenon happen with a lot of chess players. This is not something that is that uncommon. Is this something that you have ever done?
No, definitely. This is, it might sound a little funny at first, but I think it's great advice. There's another very useful, very similar advice that we have. It's called Dream Move. Have you ever heard of this one?
No.
So the point is that it's the same thing. You can, let's say you want to talk to this bishop, but you can think, hey, Mr. Bishop, right? Like, what's your dream square, right? Stuff like that. And then a lot of times that can help you. If you put it anywhere on the board, where it be? And okay, like maybe that's not the greatest example, but as we mentioned earlier, this diagonal is looking wide open. So now I'm thinking, okay, I should play b4, bishop b2. No, but definitely understanding where your pieces go, understanding what are the best squares for them. that's going to make anyone a very formidable chess player, very formidable positional player, as we say. And yeah, this whole concept, talking to your pieces, thinking about their dream squares, I think it's quite, it might sound funny, but if it helps, you ask yourself these questions, they can really lead to making the right decisions.
Absolutely. So even though it sounds funny, if you are a person that talks to their chess pieces, then know that you're not alone
And you're not crazy.
You're not crazy, and you might actually be doing a great thing for your own chess.
The key thing here is that to do it in your head. Don't do it out loud. Yeah. I think that's the key distinction.
I think that is the key distinction.
If you are talking to them literally, well, maybe, maybe you are a little, but it's still okay.
Maybe you should consider the reason why you get out. Force you to stop in a tournament. But here we see that d6 was played extremely quickly by Pia. She immediately knew that after e4 she was going to go d6, and there wasn't really any doubt about it. So now it's time for Levy to make a decision. What does he do? And I suppose there's several ways you can play. I mean, you just play e3 maybe. This makes sense.
Yeah, maybe to go bishop e2. And I think Pia played d6 very quickly because Levy was threatening knight f5 ideas, right? So that would have been uncomfortable, attacking the queen, attacking g7. So d6 opens up the bishop and prevents it.
You can also, I suppose, another very natural move to me is g3 to play bishop g2 and put some pressure on this pawn forever, fianchettoing this bishop. And we might actually see a position where Levy fianchettos both of his bishops, where we have one bishop on g2, the other bishop on b2, because I feel like these are the best squares for the bishops in this certain position. So maybe even we could see b4 being played so that he can play bishop b2, and maybe there's some ideas of playing it b4. Black has time to play a5 or c5 or anything. I don't know if that's something to do, but could be an idea to play b4 now as well. What do you think, Levy's?
I think he's going to go for b4, and it's also exactly for the reasons you outlined. Not only do we want the white bishop on b2, I don't really know right now where I want that bishop on f1. I do like g2, but I'm not sure. And I think there's no doubt that the bishop on c1 should go to b2. So this is another good piece of advice where if you know you need to make a certain move, like you know you need to castle, just castle first and then figure out the rest later. So I think here for Levy, b4, bishop b2 makes the most sense, or at least makes the most sense to me, but doesn't mean it's the only move. But it feels like you make that decision, and then in next two moves, you'll decide the fate of the other piece. But let's break down this position a little more, because like I mentioned earlier, we have a strategically imbalanced situation. Pia has this pawn on e4, which gives her a lot of space. Right now, for Levy, Levy's knight had to go to the center. Levy does play g3, as we see, to prepare your idea of bishop g2. But I believe Pia, she's going to play this move c5 for sure in the near future to grab space in the center, chase away this knight. Her knight will follow probably to c6. Maybe this bishop can go to f5 to just support this very strong pawn. Wouldn't be surprised to see some knight e5. And maybe even you can get more aggressive, some kind of h5, h4 idea now that Levy has pushed g3. So in return for the bishop pair that Levy has gotten, Pia gets really good control of the center, and that pawn in e4 is really, really powerful.
This pawn, actually, at first I was scared that it could become a weakness for Pia, because sometimes when you push a pawn too far, that pawn can become weak because no other pawns defend it anymore. But I love the ideas that you're saying. And c5 does make a lot of sense, because where does this knight go? Does c5? Well, then we can kick it away with a6.
More than kicks.
We trap it.
Yeah.
Another quick, decisive game.
Yeah. We'll see if that occurs.
So c5, the knight obviously can't go there. The knight would have to move maybe to c2.
Yeah. Maybe then to e3 later.
Exactly. That's
Lots
what I'm
of
thinking. There's a lot there. Of course, c5 would give up the control of the d5 square forever. So there's always pros and cons with moving up a pawn. But it does make a lot of sense to try to move up this pawn before you get this knight out, so that you can try to get control of this square. And I love the idea of bishop f5 as well. And so for Levy, I suppose, what are his long-term plans? I mean, I suppose that he wants to go bishop g2. He's going to castle. He's going to play b4. But what are his long-term plans here?
I think he's going to challenge the pawn on e4, perhaps with a move like d3 or even f3. Because, again, the bishops, they're really powerful in open positions. So if that pawn on e4 is gone, that's another bishop that gains a lot of strength. I'm actually, first of all, really happy with this position overall, as just as a commentator and chess fan, because I think it's going to be a very long game, because everything's on the board except the bishop and the knight. I don't see many trades coming in the near future. So I like that this is going to be an unbalanced fight, and I like that for Levy, because he really thrives in dynamic positions. He really is a a great tactician and calculator. That's why we see him having all these great blitz victories, because in blitz, these are the qualities that shine the most. So I think the fact that the position is going to be more sort of dynamic and complicated could be in his favor just for his style.
Do you think that is his biggest strength in chess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he would say that himself.
Yeah.
And most other fans and people who follow his games can attest to that, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think maybe both players are quite happy with this position. I think Pia, in a way, also, she's happy because she wanted to play. Like, she wants to. I think she's having a lot of fun.
They're playing.
They're playing,
Yeah.
you know? They have.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that can happen, and they're just playing. And I think both of them might enjoy this. So we're seeing c5 over here, and the knight, I am sure, will go to
Definitely
c2.
to c2, but it's the square on c2 looks a little awkward, but you can put it on e3 after, and knight looks looks quite decent there. And my bishop will still go to the b2 square. But I like this move a lot from Pia, this c5 move. Putting pawns in dark squares is a pretty good idea to counteract the white bishop, and she's grabbing good control of the center. She does make a backwards pawn in d6, but no one's even in the universe of attacking it here for white. So as they say, it's only a weakness if your opponent can take advantage of it. And here it's not a weakness at all.
I do see, though, how it could become a weakness at some point if white has the time of doing a d3 breakthrough. Perhaps we can see, I mean, if there's, let's say there would be a bishop on b2, one, you play d3. I mean, the attack on this pawn could come quite fast, but at the same time with a rook on d8, it's going to be hard for white to do any extensive attack on this pawn, especially with the bishop on b2. There's not really any chances for the bishop to be attacking this, and not for other minor pieces either. So, yeah, I'm sure we're going to see knight c2 immediately, and I think also that's a great point for why e3 wouldn't have been such a good move in the past, because it would just take away this square for the knight forever.
Right. Maybe then Levy would put it on e2.
E2, that's
and
true.
then to g3 or f4. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, this is so far I think well within the confines of what we can expect. Levy's taking a little bit of time. I hope he doesn't play knight b3. For those of you who watched game 1, you might remember that knight b3 move really got him in a lot of trouble. So I think he's going to have a little bit of nightmares about that move. No pun intended there. So he will be playing knight c2. You caught the pun?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so knight c2 we will be seeing. I was also just reading here. People are asking if we have any confessional yet, and as we can see, none of the players have left the board yet, so we don't have any confessional, but I do think that in the next few moves, we're going to be seeing it. I think maybe Pia, well, now knight c2 is playing. I think we're going to be seeing a confessional from one of these players very, very soon.
We'll definitely see one, but I will say, I don't know how soon, because I think for both of them, every move here, it was going to require thought. Because they're both, I think they're in a position where neither of them have kind of played before. So I feel like every move, they're like, okay, very interested, very into it. So, but I hope so. I hope someone goes for a long think, and the other person, okay, time for a confessional.
Yeah.
But I think they both have to put in some good effort every move here, because the position is unbalanced and non-standard. And that's also great news for us, because we're going to enjoy a nice, rich fight.
So I have to ask you.
Yep.
What do you think the odds are of Pia playing h5 here?
Here right away, let's see. I mean, I would not be surprised to see her play this move in general. Okay, so 0%.
This is the thing.
But I will say it would not be a surprise to me at all to see her play the move at some point, because it's getting very tempting, right? By the way, it could, I don't know how crazy this is, but maybe black can even long castle when we play h5. Because all of us, I have this big defense in front of my position. White has basically no pieces developed. I mean, you've just moved this, Levy has moved this knight 3 times and the queen 2 times. So he doesn't have the development to launch an attack. So maybe Pia will go bishop f5, long castle h5, h4, and it's going to look quite tempting against this hook on g3. So would not be shocked to see her play something like that.
But you think she can go long castles?
I don't think so, but it may be in some cases, right? If Levy plays it a little slowly. Like, for example, if he plays b4 now, then maybe he'll scare the king from going long.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, again, it's going to depend on the next moves, but it doesn't look that insane to me, considering black can launch a really quick h5, h4, maybe even d5 in the center. and then then you're threatening d4 and all that stuff. So it could be like a very dynamic solution. So yeah, that's what Pia is playing for here. If we look at the pieces, she's got both the knights out. Her bishop's ready to come out. She's got more space. She's got more active pieces, but Levy's got the bishops. That's really his his strength here.
His long-term advantage.
Yeah.
That's long-term advantage for the rest of the game. So I'm really intrigued to see here what Levy does. Will he go b4? Will he go bishop g2? And the most intriguing thing for me is going to be, will Pia go h5?
Yeah. And why was that a move that attracted itself to you?
h5?
Yeah.
Well, because it just feels so natural to push the pawn in front of the rook. Before you made the choice of castling, when you see that white has so many pieces still on the first rank, still without developing, and black has developed a lot of their pieces, just like you were saying, it just feels so natural to try to open up files for the rooks. And also, especially when white is deciding on castling kingside, to try to create some fear into doing that. And also, if after bishop g2, if you go h5, let's say that white would go h4, all of a sudden this square on g4 is going to be amazing for either the knight or the bishop. Because if you ever play f3, then all of a sudden the g3 pawn is weak. So it's all a long game, right, of strategy. But yeah, it just looks so tempting to go h5. And if you're able to go h4 and you're able to quickly trade off some pawns, bring up a knight, you bring in the queen, I mean, you give me 5 moves and I can checkmate if you don't do anything, which is obviously not the case.
Even if you do something, it'd be quite dangerous, right, with this whole idea. I think that on h5, white probably but could consider h3.
h3.
But then if you go h4, I'm going to go g4. And then I'm going to kind of counter on the king side. Maybe I go d5 myself. But at the same time, playing a move like h3, now that pawn is in the sights of the bishop on c8. So yeah, h5 is a provocative move, but not in a bad way. Like you're provoking white to maybe make some kind of weakness, not necessarily provoking them to, some aggression. So, but it's Levy's move here. I'm sure, I will tell you that if Levy was playing black, I would guarantee h5 being played because he would be having all those thoughts that you just outlined. Hey, that move is nice and aggressive. But he's thinking now, but I don't see too many, he needs to develop, right? So either you're going to play bishop g2 or either you need to play, b3 or b4. b4 looks more natural because it's more active, and then put the bishop on b2. So I think he's just deciding between those two options. Can't see anything else. And then I think Pia will decide, do I just castle and try to play in the center, or do I throw in that active 5 move?
I am so excited to see if she does or not. And it's maybe she feels like yesterday it became such a short game that we need to have some action today, and she just goes for it.
Well,
and if she thinks,
this quick draw, she gets extra rest. She got the yoga. She has the energy for h5.
Yeah, exactly. She has the energy for h5. Okay, so we see bishop g2 here. I mean, if we just really quickly turn this around.
Yeah, of course.
Don't tell me this doesn't look tempting.
Super tempting. But the other thing is that there's other tempting moves also. Like we were mentioning earlier, bishop f5. Just overprotect that strong pawn in e4. That doesn't mean you can't play h5 in the future either, right? So that makes a lot of sense. She castles very quickly. I just saw a look of sadness on your face. Like you're like, eyes. She played it so fast, so you had no time. At least she spared you. It's like ripping a Band-Aid, right?
True. She didn't leave me questioning. And can I just say that I am so shocked by how fast she's playing these moves. I have never seen her playing this fast.
Yeah, I mean, she's up on time, 8 minutes. Maybe what do you think this says? Like she's super confident? Like
I don't know.
It's a match strategy?
I have no idea, but it's not even the fact that she has an hour 18.
Yeah.
It's the fact that she makes a move in 30 seconds. That is what is surprising me. Like she'll typically, wait a couple minutes and then make a move. No, here she's just going for it. And I think it's so cool to see. Just like Levy did the other day. Maybe she felt like, you know what, playing these kind of mind games with me, I'm going to do this to you.
No, it's a great strategy because if she's playing quickly, confidently, it could leave Levy or any opponent second guessing themselves, right? In the sense that you're like, oh wow, she's playing so fast, she really knows what she's doing. But it looks like we might actually hear some of those thoughts.
We will. We have a confessional with Levy. Now, Levy actually did stand up before. Me and Alex were so caught up with the commentary that we didn't realize that he was gone for a bit. But we do have a confessional from Levy. So let's go ahead and hear his thoughts.
What's up, everybody? Didn't have a chance to do one of these yesterday for obvious reasons, so I feel like you guys were robbed of some confessionals. Yeah, so for this game, I've just played the English, and I didn't really know what Pia was going to play. Recently, she's been playing e5, which is what she played in this game, but she could have played e6 to try to play a Queen's Gambit declined, which is what she, I guess, was going for in our first game. But I just played the English to see, like, what she'll play for the rest of the match, maybe. The position we got is really interesting. She plays this early bishop b4 move. I tried to turn it into a 4 knights with queen c2, so knight f6, knight f3, knight c6, and like e3. But she played queen e7, which I don't remember what to do against. I considered a lot of things after queen e7. That's why I thought for 10 minutes. So I was thinking, like, this mic is super low. I was thinking, like, e4 to turn it into a weird Rossalimo, but then she doesn't have to take my knight on c3. She can always put it back on c5. I thought about playing e3, but she never played knight c6. And then I was like, look, I'm not going to think for another 20 minutes. I'm just going to play a3, take this, bishop back on c3. And I thought the best move there for black was to go knight c6 and then d5. She played e4 and now knight d4. And on the most recent move, I just played g3 and went to this booth because this pawn structure exists in another line, c4, e5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, c6, knight f3, e4, knight d4, and there the position is super complicated. So I was thinking, like, do I have time to play g3, bishop g2, like move my knight somewhere and then maybe play d3? That's what I'm going for. I think her move d6 was a little slow, but I don't know a damn thing. So I'm going to go play some chess. Follow me on Snapchat. Levy.rozman. I think that's my username. Last time I did this, we got 700 followers, so let's get it to 20,000. It's at 14.5 right now. And I know probably Anna's going to promote hers too. So while you're at it, follow both of us.
Levy, thank you for setting this up. My Snapchat is Anna Kremling 1. Unfortunately, the username Anna Kremling is taken, so now it's got to be Anna Kremling. But please follow me there. I think the other day when I did this, I also had followers. So
We could hear them.
yeah, we can literally hear them. It's not as big as yet. I just launched my Snapchat, so I think I have like 1,000 followers. But it would mean a lot if you guys followed it and you got to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. And now I'm gonna start.
I immediately heard it. Yeah. So we'll know. We'll know when you.
We'll know when you guys follow. So thank you so much. We got to hear a little bit Levy's thoughts. He definitely seemed surprised by e4. He said. He was surprised by queen e7 already from there. I'm gonna remove this so you guys don't hear all the
beeps.
all the Snapchats. But yeah, so he seemed surprised by all of this. D6 as well. He thought that the move was to go knight c6 and d5. He was mentioning. What are your thoughts of the analysis that he gave?
Yeah, I guess we can put really briefly on the board the line that Levy was talking about. He was saying, I know there's a line that goes what was the move order he was saying? I think he was saying g3, knight f6, bishop g2, c6. He was thinking about this position where, it's kind of similar because there's a pawn on e4 for black. But the big difference here, and that we see this in the game, is that Pia played c5. Here, the pawn's already on c6, so going c6 and c5 is pretty strange.
Of course, you lose the tempo.
Exactly. So he was thinking about this position, but it's not exactly the same. But you can see why he thought there were similarities, because he's fianchetting the bishop. Here, there's all sorts of different lines. I believe one of the best moves for black is like queen b6 or something, target this knight. As I myself speculated, this move order that Pia played with the early bishop b4, delaying the knight to c6, it's very nuanced. I think it's a really good move order as well, and it's something that caught him by surprise. He actually mentioned he was considering playing e4, which would have been a totally different game here.
Yeah.
Just changing the pawn structure drastically. And eventually let's catch up to the game. Now I'm a little surprised he was like, I thought d6 was slow because, I think it made sense because knight f5 was a potential idea. So I think that move was totally fine. But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear, maybe we'll get a P in the confessional. Last time they were going band for band, as the kids say, right? They're just going in confessional, back and forth. Yeah. Maybe we'll get Pia in there very soon.
I really hope that we do. She does seem to be completely focused on her thing right now. But now that we have this position, they've both castled. We still haven't seen b4. We still haven't seen where this bishop is going to go. I guess it's time now for both players to make some decisions. So I guess one decision that Pia could do right now is where to go with this bishop. Does she go bishop f5? Does she go somewhere else? I mean, bishop g4. I don't know if that's something that you want to do to provoke h3. I'm not sure. Threatening this pawn could be an idea. Or if you want to do a break in the center, do you ever want to do what Levy said? Do you ever play d5, especially now that the queen is on c3? If takes and takes, this queen doesn't really have a lot of places to go to. And this would also completely open up the position. Or maybe you want to play a little bit more closely and you want to be able to have ideas of knight e5, which become very different if the pawn is on d5. So I feel like now it's a big moment. I don't even know if you can play a6 and b5 here as black. Maybe you don't want to do that because the bishop could become strong in this diagonal. But yeah, it feels like a big moment. What do you think?
Yeah, I think especially this move you mentioned with d5, for Pia, it could be an important decision because if she doesn't play it now, if that's an idea you want to do, you might want to hurry up with it because otherwise I can play knight e3. Also, I guess for Levy, I was really a fan of, to me it looked like, hey, maybe we'll checkmate you, right?
Of course.
So it looked like the bishop good. But I guess Levy could be thinking, wait a second, why can't I go here? And then the bishop can come out this way. So perhaps, I thought, hey, this bishop definitely goes on b2, but perhaps he wants to keep that a little more flexible. But I think for Pia, she has the following options. Either she tries to play aggressively immediately with d5, and white cannot allow d4 because otherwise you're going to get completely steamrolled. But then if you take it, I take with the knight, I hit the queen. So it's very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but you're really fighting for the initiative. Or do you play it like slowly, like rook e8, maybe like bishop f5 or b6, bishop b7, rook d8. Just for example, like she kind of can continue building up in the center, and that will also give Levy an opportunity to, bring out his bishop, bring out his knight, bring in the rooks. So I think for Pia, she's thinking here, do I force the pace here and immediately start fighting for the center, or am I content to just consolidate all my pieces fully? That's why we see her deciding, I think, a relatively important direction in this game.
Another question that I'm wondering, speaking of trading queens, is could Pia have the idea of playing queen e5 here to try to trade off this queen? Because the only square that I see to not trade, well, I guess you can go to e3 or to b3, but both squares feel like they don't have a lot.
My pieces.
You're blocking your pieces with queen b3. You're blocking this b4 idea constantly. I mean, a certain knight a5 at some point looks very scary. Maybe not immediately, but maybe after bishop d7 you can play it. So yeah, I'm wondering after queen e5 if there's any way of not exchanging queens, or if she could literally just exchange queens now if she wants to.
Yeah, I didn't consider that idea. Thinking, hey, let's develop, but it looks reasonable. I mean, who does the queen trade favor here? I guess the queen on c3 is pretty good, right? I kind of eyeball you on the king side, and the queen there looks reasonably active. Pia's queen doesn't look bad either, right? On e7, just holding the fort. But it doesn't look like anything. You know what could be a great idea for black? If white doesn't trade, Pia can go queen e5, queen h5. And then bishop h3, knight g4, maybe a little knight e4. Then so all the pieces can start kind of coming in.
Coming towards the king.
Yeah, so maybe Levy, maybe he just trade, like takes, knight takes, and then he goes b3, defending the c-pawn, playing bishop b2. So that looks pretty reasonable. So yeah, I don't know if it's, it doesn't look bad, but it also doesn't look mandatory for black to make that trade. But also if you play d5, like we talked about, you're like, I don't want to trade your queen. I want to, attack it, right? Even more fun.
Well, yeah, it's just that I'm wondering, is there any way that we can try to put a lot of pressure on the pawn if we trade queens? Can we try to make this pawn a big weakness? So I suppose that after queen takes queen e5, I mean, if takes, knight takes, maybe you don't have to take though, but let's say that you do.
Yeah, b3 perhaps.
You would have to go b3, that's the only way of defending it. And then I was basically thinking if there's ways to go rook b8 and b5 and try to play these sort of ideas.
Yeah, and bishop e6 after.
Yeah, bishop e6 and just try to put a lot of pressure into this pawn. We can maybe set it up on the screen just so that people see it. And maybe this is totally fine for white.
b3.
But it was just an idea.
Yeah. No, I think it's quite reasonable. And yeah, I guess a4, right? Just like,
yeah, I guess
you can't do your idea, yeah? And now, maybe bishop b2. I hear a little Snapchat follow there. Yeah, this could be possible as well. I did notice that, I don't know if you flashed it by, it's also possible to pawn, which I know probably not your idea. To take the pawn here, it looks pretty wacky, right? You get the doubled e-pawns, but now you can go like knight d4, and it's a pretty strange change in structure, but black gets tremendous pressure in the center this way. This is actually an idea that I don't know if I've seen this exact one, like doubling your pawns like this in the center, but then you open style, that could be pretty interesting.
Wow.
So perhaps, I don't know if P is considering this one, but it looks pretty cool.
It looks really cool. And now also, it's going to be a little bit harder to play b3 because there's going to be a lot of ways of attacking that
There could be knight a5 ideas.
Knight a5, there could be knight d4, but this idea of knight d4 I love. And you can play bishop e6 and put immediate pressure on this pawn. I mean, imagine after, I don't know, I'm going to make a random move. Like, imagine pawns over here. It does look quite good. So yeah, this, we'll see what happens. This is the current position, but I feel like this is a big moment for Black to decide how are they going to continue the game.
Yeah, it's not exactly a moment where, oh, you need to play this one move, otherwise bad things are happening. It's just a position where you have 5 different plans. They all lead to slightly different directions, and those decisions can be the toughest ones in chess, right? Where it's like, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. You got to choose one, right? So maybe this is a moment where, you know, first you were saying so proud of Pia, you know, she's playing so fast and great. This could be a moment where she really slows down just because there's lots to think about.
And I think that you have to use your time in chess as well. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she thinks a lot here. Maybe she will actually end up playing d5. Maybe this is what she's just very much considering, and she wants to make it work. She wants to make sure that it does work. But d5 just looks so natural in this position. And if we just put it up, like let's say that you have...
Yeah, this looks kind of... Well, make queen c4, double attack on the knight and the pawn.
Yeah.
Maybe you just go back to f6, and then now you have bishop e6 coming next. So yeah, Black is fighting for the initiative, right? Before White gets all... Because you can still play like bishop e6, rook d8, knight d4. So generally speaking, Black doesn't want to open the position too much. But look at that bishop on c1. That bishop's not scaring anyone.
No.
So this is looking pretty decent for Black here. Do you think Pia can play h5? Or has that ship really sailed?
Here.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't make as much sense anymore without the rook.
I just preferred it with the rook behind.
Yeah.
I think that if she didn't do it before, she's not going to. But this idea of trying to bring in the queen to h5, that I can definitely see her trying to do.
But I think you need to pick up the idea that we didn't see it first either. You take with, because with the knight looks so tempting. Oh, you attack on c4. But after b3, you know, bishop's getting to b2. And that's, I've been really, you know, pushing for that the whole whole opening.
Yeah.
So taking with the pawn, in that case, it kind of makes sense because now the bishop at b2 is going to be blocked. So you need, of course, White doesn't need to take any e5, but you know, maybe if you don't even consider that as a possibility, Black, which could escape you, then you wouldn't even think about that move.
No, you wouldn't even think that this is a good move. So.
But I do like d5. Say it looks like, and because if you don't take it, then comes d4.
And it just also feels so natural, right? I think that for many people, the first move that you think about here is d5. Yeah. Because you want to do a break in the center. This pawn is a backwards pawn, which typically means that it's going to be a weak pawn at some point. So it just makes sense to try to trade it off, especially with the queen being in this square where it has a hard time retreating back home and where you can attack it.
I will say that I think, let's put this on the board. What if Pia plays slow? Because I think the worry for Black here is right now, Black, I think, is better developed than White, more actively developed. But what if White catches up? So let's play some not bad, but kind of slow moves, like rook e8, right? That looks like reasonable. Now let's say I play, you know, I can play, we have a move?
We have a move.
What is the move? Queen e5. Oh, okay. So there you go. That was, you know, like grandmaster, like daughter.
I have to say that I thought that this move could happen, but what I'm not sure is if she's seen that if queen takes, that pawn takes is the correct idea. Like, that would be a very positional move to take with the pawn, and it just feels quite difficult.
Yeah, but she is a grandmaster.
She is a grandmaster.
That's what grandmasters do. They find difficult moves. We got to give them credit, right?
That is absolutely true. So, yeah, it's just, from my perspective, it looks so difficult, but if she's a grandmaster, so she absolutely could see that this is the idea.
She just thought actually it doesn't tell us. This is not, it's telling me she thought, well, how much time did she have? I think she thought like 12 minutes because she had 1:18 when she castled quickly. She thought for 12 minutes there. So she invested that time. But you know what else is good about this move? I was saying, hey, I want to play b3 or b4. Now those moves don't look good at all. Let's say I played b4. You know, after, I guess maybe not here, but, or here, why not? Like after takes, wait a minute. My diagonal is blocked. Although I was going to say it's not so clear because now I do have access to this pawn. But it does look like a possible idea. And by the way, if you don't trade, maybe I can still go for queen h5. So it looks like a smart idea to counteract some 3b4s. I wonder if like d3 bishop f4 could be an idea. Let's put this on the board. So takes. If you take my queen now, then it's kind of weird. I get these pawns doubled, but I have rook b1. I have bishop f4. So I'm finding ways to get stuff the game. So I don't think, now that we've seen the pawn takes, I don't think Levy should take. Yeah, maybe d3 makes sense. So you can try to get a tempo on this queen and accept the double pawns on c3.
And after d3, after d3, because if we take, the problem that I see is that this bishop becomes so strong in this diagonal. Of course, there could be some messy things happening if we have time to queen h5 and we have time to set up some attack. But I'm wondering, after d3, what do you play here?
Let's say take 5, because, so takes, queen h5, So now, you mentioned this bishop on g2 strong, but bishop h3 will get rid of it. So why not? And then knight can go to e5. Yeah, I think this looks quite... The pawn structure is symmetrical, but black has pretty active pieces. Levy would need to figure out... I mean, the knight can come... Here's the annoying thing, right? The knight can come to e3, but then you block the bishop in c1. So I think he would need to figure out the best way to get the pieces out. It looks like black's plan is very straightforward. Bishop h3, knight e5, attack the left squares. So, I like for black.
This would become, I think, very sharp if that happened.
It black could get that attack.
Could become very sharp. So I'm wondering here actually if Levy is going to take. Do you think he's going to take queen?
I don't know. Let's have a look at that line with the pawn takes, right? Now that this looks like a reality. Yeah, knight takes here we think is not the most precise because b3 and now bishop finally gets out, and then I will be able to play maybe f3 or d3 down the road, and then both my bishops are going to be crisscrossing the whole position. Yeah. So let's look at the pawn takes, which instead for black, looks strange to double your pawns, but the pawns they control a lot of great squares.
They do.
So what do we do now? Let's say, let's say b3, just for example, to try to get the bishop out. Rook d8. Can't move my bishop still, because d2 is hanging.
Can't play d3.
Yeah, rook d1. And now maybe black just develops their bishop to, I was going to say a5 or e6. What do you think about this position? Who do you like? Yeah, I don't know, either one.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like this for black. It feels like black is definitely controlling a lot of squares, and it feels like black is being very annoying towards. You can't really fully do what you want. And even though these pawns look kind of funny, they're hard to attack. Yeah. How do you attack them? I mean, sure, you can play bishop b2. We got a fantastic knight over here. Sure, you can try to play b4, b5. But I mean, it's going to be so easy to defend these pawns. It's not really an issue. And you can always play knight d4. So yeah, I think this just actually looks really nice for black. The more that I look at it, it just looks so strange.
Double your own pawns, but you open the d file, you block out, you gain even more control. You get rid of the backwards pawn on d6. It wasn't really a problem, but now it's definitely not a problem. So, I think, this is a very creative concept for black, but it looks quite strong. And Levy also needs to pick it up, because maybe at first he's like, wait a minute, I can just take a knight take. Then he'll think, pawn take. That doesn't look fun.
No.
And now he's thinking what's...
Yeah, and also here, I mean, if this knight ever moves, you're going to get a fantastically strong knight on d4. And if you ever play e3, then the square on d3 is going to become so weak. And on f3, they're going to become so weak forever.
And my knight is almost out of legal moves.
Yeah. So how do you develop your pieces? So this is actually very annoying to play against.
I don't see him take 5, unless he misses DE, I will say.
Unless
now we get an autoplay. I think you just pause it. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I didn't know that it can.
Yeah. The technology is crazy nowadays. It's AI. Yeah, it's all the same.
Wow, that is crazy.
I have another question for you. Do you think your mom remembers about the confessional booth, or do you think she's
forgotten?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah,
it is fully possible.
I just thought of that because I was like, oh, maybe now she. Because Levy, look at Levy's he's sitting like he's like, okay, I'm gonna do a big thing. So this could be a good moment for her to go, but I don't think she remembers.
I think she's so in her thoughts about the game. I think she's completely forgotten. I think she's just calculating so many different lines.
Which is good for her.
But
not good for us.
No, we miss her in the confessional booth.
Yeah. I like that. I really like hearing. But we'll see. Maybe we gotta.
Because she might just be calculating, okay, this pawn takes variation, queen h5, can I go queen h5? What do I do? She's probably calculating all of these lines of how can I create an actual attack on white's king. So, yeah, she might completely have forgotten.
Yeah.
Imagine if we don't get a single confessional from her today.
Well, the good news is that once we mention it, we'll have like 5 confessionals for her.
Exactly.
Because yesterday she plays, the game ends in a relatively short draw. Today we come out, fighting, right? So like corrective behavior.
Exactly. I wonder how the confessionals will be during the rapid. Will they be running to the confessional?
I wouldn't think so, but we'll see, I guess. Well, they are going to have a break. Do you think they'll go in the confessional? They could, right?
They
could
absolutely could.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah, they absolutely could. And if you don't know what the confessional booth is and you're a little bit confused about what we're mentioning, we have set up a room that is completely noise canceled. There's no way for any of the words said in that room to come out. We've set up a room with a microphone where the players can come during the game and simply talk about their thoughts. Mm-hmm. And that is a way for us, both as commentators and as viewers, to be able to hear what they're thinking about and to be able to understand better during the game. Because I think personally that we might see a lot of moves on the board, but we don't really know exactly what the players are thinking about. And the confessional booth is a fantastic way for us to be able to comprehend that. So I think that it's a great thing for tournaments to have. Norway Chess were the pioneers in this. And I love that Norway Chess did this. And when me and Levy decided to do a tournament together, we thought, you know, we're going to add the concept that we really enjoy in chess tournaments. So we added it here too. We didn't think that it was going to be the place where also the players could promote their Snapchats. And,
now you know why.
Exactly. He knew this was going to be his Snapchat place. Yeah. Pia should learn to promote something there too, but I don't know what she would promote. She would probably just say, go and play chess and have fun.
Yeah, something wholesome.
Yeah, she'll say something wholesome. She doesn't have any platform to promote. But
what do you mean?
Yeah.
She's I think she's featured quite heavily on the Anna Kramling Twitch and YouTube.
She is featured quite heavily there, but that's what I mean. Audio went bad.
Oh, we also have some shocking news.
Let me just give me a second.
Okay,
see why
go ahead.
Audio is bad. Okay.
We will figure out our potential technical difficulties.
The mics keep getting cut off and on. That's very strange. That is very strange. Is it just my microphone?
I don't know. It seems like, based on some of these comments, both microphones. These are the ones we used yesterday. They were quite good.
You can change them as well.
Sure.
I have 3 more.
Classic trick of turning it on and off. Yeah. Thank you.
Let's see. Does this make any difference? If it doesn't, change them.
Better, worse, same? Audio is fine.
Okay. Okay.
Mixed reviews.
Let me give me one, and you can give them the little hint that Pia might have actually succeeded our expectations with the thing.
Exactly. Bear with us, guys, as we deal with the audio. But yeah, the big news that we also got was we might have another confessional on the way, this time from a different player. I'll let you guess which one, though.
Okay. I think actually I might have fixed it. People, we have another confessional. I present to you Pia Kramling, who was just in the confessional booth. Let's hear it.
So we got a very exciting position. I give the bishop pair, and I play this e4. I think this is double H. I want to win some time to have more space in the center, but with playing with the white square bishop, I normally like my pawns to be on black squares. So it's very, very exciting position. The coming moves will be very, very important because my opponent, Levy, has the bishop pair, and we know that the bishop pair is a long-term advantage. So going into an endgame could be very, very tricky playing against the bishop pair. But there are lots of things to happen, and I'm just very excited about the position and the game.
Well, this is nice and short, nice and concise.
Yeah, and I like how that little sprint at the end. Got to get back to the game. Oh, let's mute ourselves.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was, she seems pretty happy though, and she knows that she doesn't want to enter an endgame, which is why I find this moment so kind of interesting in a way, because she's saying, I don't want to enter an endgame, but I'm going to queens. And the reason she's doing that is because she's seeing that in this certain position, the way of trading queens could actually be favorable for her.
Mm-hmm. You know, they say you need to know the rules so that you can break them, right? So she's saying, hey, the bishop pair, the endgame, but we see that in this version, the queen trade is actually not going to be in Levy's favor. By the way, it's also like a misconception. Just because the queens are off doesn't mean you're in the endgame, right?
True.
You still have tons of other pieces to go. So, yeah, but Levy's deep in thought. I think he's realized, wait a minute, I can't take 5. And we're also going to try to get our audio working better.
So he takes. Levy takes on e5. Wow. Levy ends up taking, and now we're gonna see what does she take with. She did stand up though, so she's not by the board anymore. We are gonna see what she ends up taking with. So I'm gonna put it over here, and hopefully this will make it better. All right. So let's see if this is any better. She said she wanted pawn on black square, exactly, and she has been setting up all her pawns on black squares. I'm really excited to see if she goes takes e5. I mean, I wonder if she's in the confessional booth right now.
Again? Yeah.
Again,
That was a little short.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but she's back.
She's back, and she went running. Like, did you?
Well, we saw her running from the confessional, so
Yeah.
there's a chance.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a chance.
But I think she'll play quite quick, right? Because she thought about queen e5 earlier, and she thought on that move for 12 minutes. Levy himself just thought for 12 minutes himself. I like that, even though, you know, I like that at least he didn't think for 25. I feel like 10 minutes is around maybe 15. That's the most you should think. Now, I don't follow this rule, and I know you don't follow this rule.
I don't follow this rule at all.
But it's a good rule.
But what I'm thinking as well is that it feels like he has changed from thinking for these 25 minutes. His past 25 minutes are his today's 15 minutes, you know? Like he's using now only 15 minutes for things he would use 25 minutes in the past.
And by the way, nice and quick from Pia, pawn takes. But she
takes.
definitely had to see that when she played queen e5. I'm surprised Levy went for this because now, yeah, I mean, I guess his alternatives are not easy, but we thought this looked quite nice for black. Put the rook in the d file, and the central pawns are really dominant. Oh.
Wow.
What?
Wow. We have another confession from Pia. This is insane.
Is this 2 on the same move, or was the previous one was before queen e5?
It's
back-to-back moves.
Back-to-back moves. Let's go ahead and
hear
hear the new confessional from Pia. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm going into the end game. This was actually not my plan, but I was worried if I let him play b4, bishop b2, you know, this threat against g7. Oh, that was very scary. So I thought I'd go queen e5, and now it's not so easy for him. Because if he changed my queen, I will actually be able to take with both with the pawn and with the knight. And I think both ways are very exciting. So we are having a very exciting position, and yeah, I'm very excited about the game.
Okay, that is really funny. She was actually so fast and quick this time too, but at the same time she said that she was now happy with the endgame because she was really worried about b4, bishop b2, and the threat of the queen and the bishop on g7.
She's definitely very excited.
She is very excited.
Not just to take her at her word, but also at her actions. The double confessional, the sprinting back and forth, she just couldn't wait to share her thoughts. Are we going to get a third one now? That, you know, because Levy's back in the tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at her. She's even fixing her glasses. She has time for...
I think she's full of energy.
Yeah.
This yoga really worked. I got to start taking notes on this.
You got to start taking the yoga. And we're just going to spend just a few seconds on trying to make sure that we get the audio fixed, that it sounds as good as possible. Yeah, okay. Guys, I think actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch the mics.
Sure.
I'm going to use the other mics.
Okay.
I'm going to switch them off. These seem to be, these are also my mics. I think that maybe I don't treat my microphone as well as my dear producer does.
You got to talk to your piece, talk to your...
I do. I do gotta talk to my pieces of microphones. Let me switch really quick.
Sure. We got the new mics. We have the return of Anna.
Wait, let me do some
Yeah.
parkour. Let me go this way.
What you guys can't see is we have some wires here. Makes it a little, you got to do a out of our.
Okay. Okay, let's see if this is any better.
Same. Okay, let's see. How's our mics? How's our audios?
It was very strange. Very strange because it was working perfectly before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have some audio cuts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna try to fix this really quickly. We're gonna fix this very quickly. Is it better if I scream? Because I can shout, I can be a loud. Okay, we're gonna be going back to the game in just 1 second.
Yep. Do have a big move on the board.
We do.
Excuse me.
Okay, everybody. So I think what we're gonna do is that we're gonna take a 5-minute break where we're gonna figure out Pia, Gotham, and the and we're gonna time, and then we will be back in 5 minutes. But we're just gonna get the audio fixed, and we'll leave you with the live board and with Pia and Gotham. You guys can see exactly what's happening. We got B4. That was the final move played. So it was the best move by Levy. Very, very big moment right. Both players are trying to get an advantage session, but I think it's quite a sharp situation. So we're gonna just fix this in a second. Hello, everybody. Hopefully we are back now and it's working, well, better than before. We've done a few changes. So hello, everybody. There's been several moves that have happened ever since we left, but do let us know if it's better now. Nice.
Yes, welcome. Welcome back to us. Welcome back to our chat. Testing. We really worked hard on this audio, giving you guys the greatest experience possible. Seems like things are all great, all good. So this was well worth the short break. I think we should catch up with all the action.
Let's catch up with the chess, which is what matters the most, because we have had some crazy moves that have been happening since we were gone. I mean, they've been playing fast. So we saw b4. I think, yeah, we left right when
here.
They took here. Levy ended up playing b4, a very active move. And then bishop e6 was played, threatening this pawn on c4. So Levy had to play d3 to defend the pawn. Takes. Rook d8, threatening the d1 pawn, the d3 pawn. I suppose that now Black is trying to fight as many weaknesses in the pawns as possible. But by doing so, sacrifice the pawn on c5. So now what we've seen has been b takes c5 as the last move. And it only makes sense, I suppose, to capture this pawn now. Maybe there's other moves that can be played too, but this now makes sense. You trade one pawn, you take the other one. But this, I think, is the current position that we have. So what do you think about this? It's a whole different game than what we saw before.
I have to say, I really like Levy's reaction with b4. At first, I was a bit skeptical of him trading the queens because we were saying, wow, this plan for Black, just to go back a couple moves from Pia, pawn takes e5, looks really powerful. The pawns are doubled, but they really dominate a lot of central squares. They give Pia the open d file. And I like Levy's reaction. He's got the bishop pair. We've been talking about it. I've been talking about it, since move 3 or whatever it was that he's got them. So I love this move b4. He gets a nice shiny green star. He's saying, I'm going to shred the position open. I'm not just going to play slowly. I want my bishops out. So first he goes b4 to attack the pawn. Now he goes d3. And check this out. His bishop's wide open. And now I'm trying to figure out what's going on because Levy's up a pawn only for a moment because Pia will recapture on d3. And then she's going to be threatening the pawn on c4. So now Levy's the one with the doubled pawns, right? The tables have turned, but his bishop's open. He's got this rook coming to b1. He's also got this really interesting idea at some point, maybe to go knight b4, which could undouble the pawns. So Pia's got some strong activity here, but with Levy's bishops actually now opening up, he's got these open files. It seems like he has a lot of activity. It's my first impression. Obviously, chess is a very concrete game. We got to calculate every move, and that's what Pia is doing right now. Both players, I think, playing faster than before. We have slight time advantage for Pia, but overall, they both have plenty of time left. 50 minutes, roughly 50 minutes apiece for both.
They do, and we are going to be getting the clocks back on the screen in just a second, so don't worry about that. But little slight time advantage for Pia right now, a 6-minute time advantage, which is very welcome, of course. And now she has to make the choice. Does she take this pawn or does she not? I feel like it just looks so natural to take it.
Why not?
Why would she not? Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else she can do. The engine is saying that maybe knight a5 could be an option, but I don't really understand what happens here if you defend the pawn. The idea
maybe he can still take on c4 in this position.
The idea here is that, that this is hanging. Yeah. So knight takes c4, I suppose, could be played because this rook is hanging. So I guess that is the idea. But I think she's going to play rook takes d3. It looks so natural. And it's going to become kind of a dynamic endgame in a way. I mean, we're not fully in the endgame. Of course, there's almost all pieces are left apart from the queen. But it's going to become, I think, a very dynamic position. And it's going to be a lot about the pawns. Black is going to have some weak pawns that White is going to, with their activity, be able to chase. White is going to have a lot of bad pawns as well that are going to be doubled, Black is going to try to chase as much as possible. And yeah, I think it's just going to be very double-edged. I think that this game can go either way at this point.
Yeah, these pawns, they can be a strength or a weakness because Levy's got that amazing bishop on g2. His bishop on c1 can come to e3 as well. He can bring the rook to b1. So I can imagine a scenario. If Levy's able to grab that pawn on b7, that pawn on c5 could be a really powerful asset. Yeah, just push it down the board.
The pawn is just going to go, and it can almost promote. Like, it's only 4 steps away from promotion, which...
Much better than when it started originally.
Much better than here. This is now a dangerous pawn, right? Yeah. So I completely agree. I'm not really exactly sure what Pia is thinking about. Let's take a look and see. She is very focused right now. We see that Levy has also left, so Levy might be doing a confessional right now. I feel like that would be a...
He's down 2-1.
Yeah.
In the confession.
He is. He is. So he has to catch up, you know? We didn't think that would be possible. But so I'm sure that we're going to be seeing a confessional soon by Levy. Maybe he's taking a moment. There's been a lot of action. And we'll see what Levy ends up saying there. But we also saw some looks from Levy. He kept looking into the camera a few times I saw during our little audio break.
Yeah, who knows what that was about?
Who knows what that was about? Yeah, no idea. But maybe he just wanted to say hi to everybody watching. So she does take on d3. This was the move that we were expecting. Rook takes d3 is on the board. We got the clocks back over there as well. And there we have it. Rook takes d3. Levy immediately comes back. Which either was good timing or means that maybe he didn't go so far. And he's writing down the move, and now it's going to be time to think. So do you think Levy's immediately... Oh,
wow.
I was going to ask, do you think he's immediately going to go knight b4?
I thought he was going to go rook b1, but I wasn't calculating as much as Levy has here. But knight b4, yeah, that's a nice move because you're double attacking the rook and the knight. So the most natural move for black is to take it, or the first move you would think about. But then after ab, White's looking pretty good because now my rook in a1 is really strong, attacking a7 or putting pressure. The bishop in g2 is threatening b7. And I've also, my pawns, right? I had 3 isolated pawns. Now I have 1 mega blob. You know, I got the b4, c4, c5, and maybe I can force them down the board. So this is looking very dangerous for black because if you take on c4 here, you're already lost. Bishop takes b7. Then my c pawn's ready to go. The a7 pawn is hanging, and Levy would be in a winning position. So Pia cannot take on c4 here. Maybe if we go back a moment, we have to already think about knight b4. Maybe she doesn't take. But if you don't take, then I'll take on c6. So that was an excellent move. Yeah. And the fact that he played it quickly is also a great sign. He's planned it out, and he's feeling nice and confident about this decision.
He's feeling very confident about this. And yeah, I'm wondering, this looks like the most natural move here. Because otherwise, you're giving up this pawn, which just looks very scary to do. Because once again, the c pawn is going to become very strong. I mean... yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can play something like rook c3 to try to take back here with the rook and to be able to control the c pawn with the rook. But yeah, this also looks slightly worse.
Because if you take on c6 twice, then black can actually play rook c8, right? And go after the c5 pawn.
Go after the c5 pawn.
And then the c4 pawn later as well, right?
Yeah.
So perhaps, yeah, this Pia should not take on b4 because that's going to play into Levy's hands. And as they say, you want to trade on your own terms. If you're going to make trades, try to do them in situations that benefit you, not the opponent. So taking in b4 here, no reason to have Levy's pawns come together. I think moving the rook somewhere, like rook, you mentioned rook c3 makes sense, right? To attack the c4 pawn, that would be a better decision.
Yeah, or maybe even rook, I mean, yeah.
Rook b3 could, rook b3. Yeah, also I guess. Yeah.
Maybe.
Because on c3, maybe you can get hit with bishop b2.
Exactly,
right? And
yeah.
then the e5 pawn could fall.
Yeah.
But this is a situation where you said it's quite sharp, but it wouldn't be that surprising if in the next 5 moves, it clarifies a lot and we have a lot of trades and then the dust kind of settles.
It does. And I'm just curious. I mean, another idea that she has could be to take and then go for e4 to try to block the bishop from capturing this pawn and now threaten to take this. But it just feels scary to leave the blob of, I think that's the word you use. The blob, yeah. The blob of pawns together here and to have this a file being open for this rook because we see now that this rook on a1 becomes so strong, it's forever going to be pointing towards a7. And this rook becomes kind of useless because it's just defending that pawn.
Yeah, I mean, here I'm thinking, what if I play like bishop b2, right? Like a simple, like the point is I want to take the knight and then take on e4, right? Yeah. So like I'm a little surprised, but I see the evaluation is that black's okay. But it feels to me that white has easy plans here and black, sure, you're okay. But we got to remember when you look at the evaluation, the computer says this is the evaluation of the position, but usually that means if you play the following 10 moves, this is what's going to happen at the end of that. And that's where the evaluation now is what it is. Yeah. But if you don't find that whole continuation, you can be in trouble. So knight b4, while it looks like it's okay, I do like the other idea we looked at with rook c3. Just don't allow that really powerful blob. Yeah. Don't get blobbed.
No, don't get blobbed and keep the pawns far away from each other where they can't connect. So, yeah, this game, many people are saying, oh, this is going to be just a draw. I think that this game has 3 results right now, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, these are critical decisions, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if things peter out a bit and there's a lot of trades that occur. But perhaps even this knight before e4 continuation, right? This is something that At least it's engine approved. I don't know if it's commentator approved, but yeah, I think it really depends on these next couple moves. I do like, well, let's think about the pros and cons of the position. For Levy, he's got this amazing bishop on g2, rook can go to b1. He's got a lot of pressure on the queen side. But if he misplays this or if something doesn't pan out, then he's got major weaknesses with the c4 and c5 pawn. If he, he could lose he could lose both of them in exchange. So he could be down a pawn, for example. So I think, yeah, while the evaluation, as people see on the screen, it's balanced, it really is going to depend on how they handle it from here.
Can you play rook d4 as well?
Rook d4, yeah, I guess it's similar to your rook c3 idea, but perhaps the rook there is, again, it's still vulnerable to these bishop b2s or bishop e3s. So let's say knight c6, bc. Yeah, now the difference is actually the rook in d4 is not well placed because after bishop e3, or I can take there first, but the point is that rook c8, I move my bishop and you can't take on c5 because of bishop e3.
Yeah, that's the difference,
right?
Yeah.
So that's why the rook in c3 is better
It's better,
placed.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a little nuance, right? Again, you see the evaluation is balanced, but one wrong move and it's not the case anymore.
Let's go ahead and see if we have any other confessions.
Oh.
Okay. So
we have some stuff.
Yeah, we are ready for Levy's confession. It seems to be that we have another one.
We're backlogged in confessions.
We are backlogged into confessions.
Might play some tomorrow.
I mean, we could make like literally a video just from all the confessions.
Yeah, supercut. Boom, 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 boom.
Supercut. Boom, boom, boom. So let's see if that third confession is ready. If it is, we can play it now.
Hello, it's me again. Chess etiquette rule. Try not to eat at the board. Okay, last time I was here, I had just taken on e5, Pia played de, and then I played b4, which I guess better late than never. I feel like if I didn't play b4 in that position, it was about to get really, really unpleasant. I was pretty, like, my self-confidence was pretty low after she played queen e5 and then took with the pawn because I, like, didn't look at taking with the pawn seriously at all because I was like, knight takes, like, she attacks the pawn on c4. But then when she played it, I was like, oh my god, it's actually a very interesting move. But now I think she missed that after she plays rook d8 that I can take the pawn on c5. Like, maybe instead of that I could have played bishop b2. She takes on d3, I take on c6, or yeah, takes, b takes c6, bishop takes e5, bishop takes c4. But like, yeah, so I calculated the sequence in advance that after b4, bishop e6, d3, take, whichever rook moves to d8, I have bc, rook d3, knight b4. So my b4 pawn is now on c5 and the knight can go to b4. When I saw that, I was like, oh, the sequence is actually pretty good because I attack the rook and the knight. If knight b4, a4, a7, b7 are both weak, bishop c4, I can play even rook e1, but bishop b7. But after knight b4, like, anywhere the rook moves, I at least take on c6 and get another pawn. Then I have two bishops and, like, worst comes to worst, it's equal, but I don't have any more unpleasant things. Anyway, she might have made a move. She probably took my pawn on d3, so I'm going to go back and check, but I don't really see what else she can do. Like, maybe she can maneuver, but I'm still going to play knight b4, and if she plays a5, I can play bishop b2, or I can play rook b1. Like, I'm pretty happy now. Anyway, levy.rozman on Snapchat, 20,000 followers, that's our goal. Hello, it's me again. Chess etiquette rule.
You heard that, and she did end up taking the pawn on d3. And after knight b4, which was the move that Levy played instantly, she played rook b3, and this was the final move that we saw. So she actually didn't take on b4, like we were mentioning. This would be really scary to have the rook and the bishop pointing down to the queenside pawns. Now we have this move, and I think we're going to be seeing the big takes over here and then rook c8.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. We have, just to go back for a moment, just to get Levy's thoughts on the board. I think, so actually we were talking about this DE, and he said himself, that was a move that he underestimated for sure. So it was a great concept from Pia. He was thinking about knight takes. But I think he reacted great. Like you're saying, my confidence was low. That's not a pleasant feeling when you miss a move from your opponent. But b4 was a great reaction. Let's go forward because Levy, as we heard, he thinks that Pia may have underestimated his idea of bc, just leaving that pawn on d3 hanging. And now, as he mentioned, he has this big idea that knight on c2, right? Earlier in the game, we're like, where's it going? Well, he finally found a powerful use for it to play knight b4. And it sounds like, his confidence was up. He was saying, look, worst comes to worst, I'm going to take on c6. I'll have the bishop pair and things are going to be all cool. And that's what might happen. Let's look at it. After rook b3, to me, the most natural move is knight c6 because I want to keep my bishop. And now, let's say we take, rook goes to c8. And now, let's move the bishop away. Let's say it goes back to g2. And I guess rook c5, bishop e3. And then, things are starting to get chopped off, right? Rook takes c4, bishop a7. And black is very active here. White has the bishops. If white can play a4, a5, a6, that's going to be a powerful pawn. But at the same time, I guess rook a4 here, bishop to c5, holding the pawn. And I think that black should have enough activity for this not to be a problem. But there's also some risk, I think, for black. If I can play bishop c6 or something and get that a-pawn moving, Levy will have that really powerful outside passer. So
especially with the bishop pair. The bishop pair here is really strong. And it's almost to a point where I feel like I want to play some maybe we don't want to go bishop d5 because there's a lot of checkmate ideas here.
But eventually.
I want to try to trade off one of these bishops because it does feel extremely worrisome to be playing against these two bishops that can just kick away the rooks and allow this pawn to push. So in a position like this, I think it can almost only be Levy that is better.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is also quite likely to happen. This was a very forcing sequence. Levy is now thinking, because he did see this. He was saying, if she takes, that looks great for me. And then if she moves the rook, I can take on c6. So I think he's just working out these lines. Perhaps he has some other continuations. But that one, to me, like you said, no risk at all for him. He's got that outside pawn. He's got the two bishops. He can it's a free roll, right? Just play it out. Pia defends well. Probably going to be a draw. But he's got the chances. So I think we'll see something like that on the board.
What if he would take with the bishop? If we just look at what happens if he would take like this.
Because he's attacking e5 now.
Yeah. So just in case he wants to play something a little bit more forcing, bishop takes c4. We're threatening the rook. The rook, maybe, I don't know where he goes, to e1 or d1.
Take your pick.
Okay, we'll go rook d1. In a position like this.
Yeah, now in this case, he keeps that c pawn. There's no rook c8 because there's a fork on e7. So yeah, this looks, it's not the most natural move to me because I'm thinking that bishop is so good, right, on g2. Now that it's gone, I feel a little sad. But I suppose this is also a way to continue. And this way, Levy keeps a different pass pawn, the pass pawn on c5. So, next up, he'll play bishop e3, rook c1, move the knight, push, push, push. So also looks quite reasonable for white.
I think it's going to make a choice here of what pawn to pick. But I'm wondering here, what do you even do with black? Because this pawn is hanging.
Yeah,
I don't really want to
maybe let's try rook e1 instead of rook d1 because then it's double hanging.
Then it's double hanging, yeah.
So let's say you don't want to push it, but let's say you do because I don't see what else you can do to defend it. Oh, but I also have knight a5. I have a fork.
Knight a5, yeah, that's a huge fork.
Doesn't win, but that bishop is really strong for black. So trading it off for my knight, I'll take that deal.
Yeah, so I'm wondering here.
Yeah, so still rook e1 for Levy, at this point.
How do you defend it? Do we have any tricks?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the computer says bishop b5, just give it up. Obviously there's great compensation on the light squares. Yeah, knight d7, just going to the opposite color of bishop endgame. But still, white will have an extra pawn. Okay, the light square bishop is really powerful, but extra pawn is also pretty good.
It's great, and I think for Pia, she can never win this.
Yeah, definitely not. And Levy made a move. Let's see which one that is. He made a decision.
Knight takes c6. So this is the
most natural because you just don't want to give up that amazing bishop. And I think Levy saw that whole forcing line we went for. So I think he thinks there, that's also pretty nice for me.
Okay, so b takes. We're going to see now bishop takes, I'm sure. Or do you think we're going to see something else? I mean, there is also, of course, a weak pawn here. We could see something like rook e1 threatening this pawn, but it just looks so natural to capture this.
I think he'll take it. I mean, one other idea I'll think about is maybe I can play bishop e3 first, because the point is that I want to take on c6, but not allow you to win that c5 pawn. So that would be a consideration for me. But I think black can play, maybe there's knight g4, absolutely. Also, there's ideas of bishop takes c4, and then the bishop can go back to d5 So then you're not even getting that opportunity to take c6.
Yeah.
So I think Levy, because, okay, let's maybe put on the board again, bishop c6. You have to go rook c8 because your rook's hanging. And let's just say I go back to g2. Maybe there's other squares. And now
we take here, I think.
Yeah, because otherwise I can play c6 potentially, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or even bishop e3. You can take on c4 as well. That doesn't look crazy.
Then maybe it's rook d1.
Rook d1, yeah. Now you can't take because of back rank.
Exactly.
So it feels a little dangerous. So I think Pia would take here and bishop e3.
Let's see what he did.
He played rook e1 quite quickly.
Wow,
Okay.
he played rook e1, so he didn't take. Okay.
He's leaving it for another time.
Yeah, but now he's also saying after bishop takes c4, the rook is not hanging, so you don't have this time to go back to d5. So now, wow, I mean, I guess one thing that Pia could do is she could push the pawn to e4, because if she at least gets rid of this bishop, this is a very powerful bishop.
And it's opposite colors.
And it's opposite colors, exactly. She could play this. I'm
then he'll
wondering
go
though,
bishop g5, yeah.
Can you go bishop g5?
Sure.
Exactly. Can you go bishop g5?
So bishop c4, and then I'll take on f6, and I'll also take on e4, let's say with the bishop. And
maybe you have to defend.
You have to defend, and it's more pleasant for white. Black has the worst pawn structure. The rook on c8 is pretty passive. So yeah, the rook, maybe I try to trade the rook on b3, although it's not so easy because it attacks a3. But it looks like the position is trending towards a situation where Levy can have a small risk-free advantage in this endgame.
You know, where did this happened when we were having the audio issues?
So what are you trying to say here?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that I feel like I wasn't here for my mom.
Oh, you weren't here for her in her time of need.
Exactly, when things started going wrong for her.
But I don't know if they started going wrong per se. Like, you know, we're talking about this. She's not losing. Not by any means. I think Levy's played extremely well in this portion.
No, he's played extremely well, and that is also the reason for why he's been able to keep a little advantage, right? He's playing all the good moves. So absolutely big
Every
ups
move
to Levy.
for Pia looked very natural.
It did.
So it's hard to say she's made it. Maybe this is the moment Levy was talking about where maybe she underestimated this BC move. Because it looks strange. Like, you double your own pawns.
Could she have taken your first? Is this really bad? I
then
guess
maybe knight takes, like just like in the game, or pawn takes also. But yeah, the point is that I want to trade it off and again get the pressure on these pawns.
It's this bishop constantly. It's bishop on g2 that just keeps being a menace throughout the game. Yeah, no, it's just Levy that has been playing this really well, and you know, big props to Levy for that.
Yeah, I thought it was quite scary when he allowed DE, but he's reacted extremely precisely. But yeah, he's got the pressure, but it's far from anything decisive. But he's got the pressure.
He's definitely got the pressure. And it's going to be really exciting to see what happens in the next few moves. I'm wondering here, what can she do now to defend? Like, do you think she's going to defend? Do you think she's just going to go rook c8 to protect this pawn and then just basically say after takes, I'll just try to go something like, I wanted to go here, but the problem then, why can you not take this?
Yeah, you can. Nothing immediate. Yeah, there's no back rank yet, right?
There's no back rank,
But
maybe the rook can
go to e7. Even something like bishop e3, it's just developing, and yeah, it looks quite reasonable to me for black because now I'm happy I have this d5 square. So it looks like putting my knight there or my bishop there, one of those guys is going to be an idea. So yeah, so I guess is it decision time for Pia? Like, does she push e4 like we looked at? Does she just give up that pawn? I think the pawn you don't really want to lose here is the c6 pawn because that's going to give me a passer on c5.
Yeah, that's going to be the actual dangerous pawn. But of course, being a pawn down in general is not something you want. Or in case you lose this pawn, you just want to make sure that you win the two c pawns as well, and that there's no big damage.
Yeah, that's why, to be honest, I really like the idea from Levy to go bishop c6 immediately because those c pawns can be quite vulnerable. So you just give them up and then grab that a pawn, and then you leave yourself with one pass pawn on a3, although it's quite far. I guess Levy felt better having the pass pawn on c5. You know, that's a little closer to promotion. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Pia does. But on another topic, one of our dear sponsors, Take. Have you heard about Take?
I have actually. And I noticed something about your wardrobe as well today.
I did. I feel like I have been matching with our sponsors very well. Today, I decided to wear a lime green cardigan.
In honor of
Take. And I'm going to be showing you a little bit the platform, but I feel like following people like Levy and be able to follow all of this amazing chess, then Take is an amazing platform for that. And we got also a little QR code, which you can check out. So yeah, but Take is a brand new chess app, which is founded by Magnus Carlsen. And it's never been easier to follow games and check results. You can highlight your favorite players, get notified when they play top tournaments, and follow the games move by move. Take's ambition is to make chess more accessible and exciting, which we love. This is by far the best place for you to follow chess games, including my games and Levy's games, on to becoming a grandmaster. Download the app and get access to live action and exclusive content. And I'm gonna wait, if you just give me that phone over there.
And actually,
I want to show it to you really quickly.
Yeah, this match is being covered there on Take.
This match is being covered on Take. And I just find this so cool because if you get the app, okay, you can select your favorite players. And in here you have Magnus Carlsen, you have Hikaru, you have, lots of people that everybody know. And then who's that? We got levy.rozman. All right, if you want to follow all of Levy's games. And then you have Anna Kremling and Pia Kremling. They put us up here all the way from the beginning, and I am so thankful for that. So we're part of the app right now with the little Swedish flag right next to Levy and next to both Tass sisters. And yeah, it's a mix right now of a lot of creators and a lot of the best chess players in the world that are here. So it makes it really easy for you to be able to follow all of the games. And especially like when I'm playing tournaments or Levy when he's playing tournaments, it's going to be really easy for you to just press, us as one of your favorite players and to be able to follow all of our games. And there's even comments coming in from here, which I think is just so cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and add, just me and my mom as players that I want to follow. I'm slightly biased. But yeah, really cool. And here you can see Battle of Generations, Pia versus Gotham. You can press on it and it gives you like all of the different, it tells you all about it. And then you can also check out the games right here in the app. So yeah, I think this is really cool. Like, look at this. We can see the actual game right now. I'm going to do like a little close-up.
Yeah. I see all the arrows with the rook, the bishop.
Okay, and we're seeing also move. Look, we're seeing it on both. We're seeing it both on the phone and on the actual screen. Can you see it? Okay, it's not focusing, is it? I'm going to try to hide myself over here. There we go. There you can see it, Rook C8. So yeah, it's a really cool app. We're super thankful for them sponsoring this event. And check out Take, everybody.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Let's get back to the action.
Also
I do.
Happened?
Rook C8. Wasn't this your move? You're there for your mom now.
I'm there for my mom. I mean, with my move or the engine move, who knows? I will try to take all credit. No, but Rook C8, I mean, the reason for this, it makes sense, right? It's because we wanted to defend this pawn on C6. So this is the most important pawn right now. And now it only makes sense for Levy to capture this, right? Now that he can, I suppose he wants to. Yeah. I don't know what else he would do. And I'm wondering here, maybe though, the reason that this could become a problem is, do we have any knight d7 threatening this and threatening
for
c5?
C5, yeah. But although when you take on C5, I may have bishop E3 anyway. So that's my dream. I really want to get that pawn on A7. But looking at this again and seeing Pia play Rook C8, I really makes me regret for Levy not just swapping off C6 earlier. Yeah. Because just to show again, he had this, like Rook E1 was not a bad move, but it was so natural to get rid of this pawn. And honestly, if I get rid of this guy, even though it's a good pawn, I don't mind it because I open up my other bishop. So somewhere here, if Rook C5, we were looking at this idea, pick up the pawn in A7 and let this guy try to roll. Perhaps Levy, for sure he looked at this. Maybe he was worried about bishop takes C4. But yeah, after a move like Rook D1, now you have back rank issues. And I'm still going to play a move probably like bishop E3, bring my other rook into C1. So it felt like this was a more challenging way for him to play. Yeah. His move was also quite natural, but yeah, Pia just defends the C6 pawn, right? No pass pawn for you. No, and she's basically saying, Levy, you could have taken my pawn before. You didn't take it. I'm going to make you regret that decision. You think he's regretting it right now? What do you think? Look at this. He's got the hands on his face. Well, is that a look of regret? It's probably a look of focus, but what I'm seeing is that Pia was up. She went running. I think that maybe she thought, okay, I have 40 minutes. This is one of my last chances to get a confession in on this game. So I think we might be getting a confessional from Pia very soon as well. We will see, which I think would be very interesting because we would hear if she had missed this b takes c5 that we talked about before, and we would get to see how she feels like the game has advanced and what she thinks about this position. But I have to say, I feel like Levy has played this game super well so far. Like, it's been a really good game, and it's just
even if Pia played a lot of natural moves, he's just constantly been challenging her, and now maybe not taking on c6 maybe makes it slightly easier to defend, but still it's just been a very challenging game throughout. But he's probably going to spend some time here now and try to figure out what the best way of continuing is. And I don't know what he can do apart from taking.
Yeah, because c4 is also hanging. So, you know, you don't mind trading that pawn for e5. And by the way, you know, credit to both the players. You know, we have a little statistic on our screen here, right? We can see how accurately they're playing the game. The famous chess.com cap score. We got 98.3 versus 98.1 accuracy. So both players obviously playing super well. Definitely a high level game so far. And Levy grabs the pawn on e5, definitely basically the only move that we seriously considered for him. And yeah, I think Pia can just take on c4, although this idea of knight d7 is also quite interesting, right? Just c4 is not really going anywhere. So why don't we go after c4 and c5?
And if we go knight d7, where does the rook go?
Yeah, I think you can, you know, I don't need to keep the pawn defended, I think. Perhaps I could play, well, it's actually, yeah, I was going to say rook e1, because I was thinking if you go knight c5, I have bishop e3, but then you have some knight d3 move. Although then, nowhere, yeah, if I go to e2, then there's like bishop c4 with tempo, so I wasn't sure.
So here, you mean?
But here there's bishop e3. But yeah, actually, if knight d3, I guess it's no big deal. I play rook b1. Still, these bishops, right, they have some bite. After, let's say, you trade on b1, and if you grab c4 here, then I don't like this.
Take?
I could take, but I want a7.
I want
a7. Yeah, I want my pass pawn.
This one.
Yeah, and then, true. I could have taken a c6 as well with the back rank.
But but this makes more sense.
Exactly.
To get this a pawn.
And I still can try to take on c6 later. So this is not a variation that we expect to happen, but for illustrative purposes, you can see that the two bishops, if the game opens up in the right way, they will still give Levy the advantage here.
And to be fair, Pia's made a move. I am kind of nervous to see what it is. I'm going to press here and we're going to figure it out.
We'll find out together. Knight d7.
She went knight d7, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Reasonable move. I think, so Levy doesn't need to keep the pawn defended. Like a move like rook h5 would really put the rook in an awkward spot.
Yeah.
And you don't need to keep that c5 pawn defended here. The rook is totally out of the game here.
Yeah.
I'd be worried it might get trapped. So he can just bring it back to e1. And yeah, if knight c5, he's almost happy to lose that pawn now. He is up a pawn for the moment, of course. But I'm saying he's happy because he'll open up another diagonal for that dark square bishop.
And what if, well, I suppose if we start by taking this pawn here, maybe bishop e. There's also these kinds of...
Oh yeah, a little tactical idea that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
That looks tricky. I can play rook e7 or rook d1 after.
Ooh, that looks very tricky. Yeah, no, I don't like that. Let's see.
And he quickly goes rook e1. Okay, good.
Very quick.
Both players playing very confidently this game. You know, we don't see those 25-minute things. Hopefully won't see them.
I want to see them. I want them to get into time trouble now.
Well, they can get into time trouble. I was going to say, careful what you wish for. What if your mom sends, or Pia spends 25 minutes here?
Actually, you're right. Yeah. I shouldn't wish for it in any single way. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be exciting to see. Bishop takes c4 now made me really scared for this move, actually.
That's a nice move. Yeah, that's not something we considered at first. Yeah, knight c5, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but bishop e3, you know, a7, you gotta watch out for that one. Because, yeah, again, maybe knight d3 is probably ineffective because it just chases my rook where it wants to go. So perhaps like knight a4 is kind of weird. Yeah,
I have an idea.
Sure. Oh, you want to trap my bishop?
Yeah, I want to go knight a4 and c5.
Yeah.
Can we do this?
Yeah, you know what's funny? You can't attack my bishop.
Yes, you can. Rook c7.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can that way, yeah.
I can't this way, though.
You can these ways, yeah.
But okay, a little bit. I mean, I just want to see like an h6 or something soon to get this king out of the back rank. Yeah.
Yeah. That's clever, yeah. Trapping this bishop with this sequence. Maybe I can get it out with like rook b1 and get it out via b8.
No, you absolutely can get it out, but
yeah, but bishop c4, right? So now if I take on b3, your own pawn is gonna start. Yeah.
Do you see this? Look at this pawn. Now this pawn became a passer.
Yeah. This I don't like as much. So let's see. Pia's thinking. So she's probably looking. Hey, I want to take one of these pawns. Which one should I go for?
Yeah, but this, I mean, after bishop h3, I guess, okay, you have rook b3 defending, but this all feels very, I don't know, maybe you can even go back and chase here. This all feels
the pieces are a little loose all of a sudden for black, although shouldn't be the end of the world.
But very uncoordinated. So yeah, I'm hoping we don't see bishop takes c4.
Knight c5 is natural, right? Because the knight jumps into the game. You just need to evaluate the consequences of this bishop e3 move.
Alex, when is one of these players going to blunder? They haven't blundered so far.
I don't think they will. You know, these are very strong players. You know, do you want some blunders?
No, I mean,
we're gonna get so many blunders in the rapid and
we
blitz.
are.
We're gonna, for everyone just tuning in, and if maybe, you know, this is a classical game. We have 90 minutes, 30 seconds, but that's not the whole match. We have 22 games total. This is game 3. So we're very early in this match. We have the last classical game tomorrow. Then we have a day, 6 games of rapid. So by the way, earlier someone was asking for the time control. That's going to be 15 minutes each with 10-second increment. So you still have some time, but nowhere near the 90 plus 30. And then we go 12 games of 3 plus 2 in the final day. That, you know, you're asking for blunders, you're going to get a boatload.
I'm going to get so many.
Yeah.
I don't know why I am asking for blunders, but I'm just so impressed by the fact that they're playing so well in these classical games. And it's just really, really amazing to see. But we also want to remind everybody that the game tomorrow, the classical game tomorrow, the final one, will start 1 hour earlier than today. It's going to start at 2 p.m. CET. So don't miss it. If you come in at 3, then you're going to be maybe already seeing a crazy position. So
that's a good reminder for me as well. I forgot.
Oh, you forgot? Okay.
I forgot. The last 3 days. Yeah, we were going an hour earlier.
We're going an hour
Daylight savings time here. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's going to start at 2 p.m. So 1 hour earlier. And it's going to be an hour earlier for the players as well. Okay.
But yeah, no, they're playing excellently so far. And Pia's investing a little bit of time thinking to take one of the pawns. Now, the funny thing is you were saying, I want to see a luft. Right? I want to see one of these h6 moves.
Luft, you know, it's really funny because it's a very chess word. It means
it's a German
air.
word, I thought, yeah?
It's a German word, but we say the same word in Swedish. So German and Swedish are quite similar to each other. I thought I'd give you a little Swedish lesson over here. Luft.
Luft. And it means air.
Word. It means air.
And do you use it this also in the chess context? Like if Pia was to play h6, you'd say, oh, luft.
Yeah.
Pia luft.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you're pronouncing it really well.
I'm trying to, you know, mix in well with my fellow Swedes.
Exactly.
I have a question for you. Speaking of Swedish, is smorgasbord a Swedish word?
Smorgasbord.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I randomly thought of it just now because I was gonna actually use it in a sentence. I was like, is that a Swedish word? We have it from New York. We have a smorgasbord. Is that how you say it?
Right.
And we have it in Brooklyn. It's like all this different food.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we got a little Swedish.
And
we have a move.
Sandwiches, right?
It's just all sorts of stuff. It's like many different stalls, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to go to New York at some point and try it. We have a move on the board. Pia does end up playing knight e5, which was the best move, but maybe looked a bit scary to the eye because there's bishop e3. You might lose your a7 pawn. I almost feel like if she enters this, she almost like has to see this knight a4 c5 idea.
Let's check it out. Bishop e3. The first move, right? Again, I'm like knight d3 with a tempo, but it's not a very useful tempo because my rook in e1, it's staring into the butt of the bishop. So let's move it
to better square.
Yeah, to b1. So knight a4, very nice idea because you don't, knight on the rim is dim, is grim. You have anything like that in Swedish? You guys, do you learn?
We use the English version.
We use the English version. It's so good. You don't want to. You can also, I guess, go to d7 with the same idea.
Can you do this in c5?
Yeah, that as well. I guess in a4, you block me from any a4 ideas as well. But yeah, this is, I think, an important and we see some moves. Levy played bishop e3. Yeah.
Bishop e3. There
very
it is.
Quick, very quick. So now you think we'll get a quick one from Pia?
Knight a4 or knight d7. I think we're going to see one of these two. She's not going to go knight d3, I think.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
That's a pseudo-active move, right? It looks active, but perhaps not so strong. That's a nice idea that you can actually give that pawn an a7 in some positions, but you shut out the bishop and maybe white will regret it. So let's see what she does. Levy doesn't have to take it either, but he would really like to.
That is the plan. When he's going bishop e3, that is the plan that he's going for. And when we speak of plans, we have Pia's plans in a tape, which we're going to see it very soon. We got a confession with Pia. Let's go ahead and hear it.
Okay, so we have this end game. I was very excited, but then I forgot about knight before. That was very tricky. I had so many moves to go with my rook. I couldn't take on b4. The rook would just start playing. And now we have this position. The last move was very surprising. I just expected my opponent to take on, that Levy took on, to take on c6 and then just to try to do something with the c-pawn. And he played his slow-mo rook e1. I went rook c8 because I want to keep the pawn. And now I have some idea. If you take on e5, I will go knight e7, and then I will try to grab on c5, or I will grab on c4, so I will get one of the pawns back. But he still have the bishop pair. We know how strong they are, and with the rooks, the bishop likes the rooks, the knight likes the queen, but I changed the queen very early on. But okay, I will keep on fighting. I think it's very, very exciting still. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
She has so much energy in her voice.
Yeah. She seems really in good spirits today. The whole all these confessions.
Yeah.
It's great to see. And yeah, she kind of gave us some pretty good insight, confirming some of the things we were discussing ourselves.
She hadn't really seen knight before, or she underestimated how strong knight before was. It was a fantastic move by Levy. He played it very fast, and I think then she understood that, oh, wait, this is actually a different position. She goes knight d3, actually.
Very tempting move, to be fair. It was it was my first move as well.
It was, yeah.
Not the end of the world, but now this idea with c5, it's not as strong because the bishop has more ways to escape. And yeah, I think Levy's rook b1 move is very natural. Now, what P also said earlier was, it was exactly what I was thinking. She was like, Levy should have, I thought he was going to take on c6. He played the slow move rook e1, but now he gets to fix his mistake. That rook, it can go straight to b1. Yeah, rook b1 here, basically forced. And I guess Pia could take on c4 first, or that kind of maybe, doesn't matter, maybe not, because I can take b3 and rook b1. But either way, I'm grabbing a7. Unless, do you think Pia she wants to take on, she doesn't have time. I was going to say maybe she takes on b1 and then plays c5, trying to block the bishop. But
the rook just becomes so active.
Exactly. I can start infiltrating with the rook. So yeah, I think rook b1 would be expected here.
And so what happens here if we go, for instance, rook b8?
Well, now you got two guys hanging. I'll take one at a time, right? So
you're just gonna pick them up.
Yeah. This would be my dream, right? Now I got the bishop pair, pass pawn, and it's an extra pawn. So yeah, black cannot contest the b file. So let's check this out. Rook b1. I think
there we
very
go.
quick.
Instantly, which is good.
Yeah, time management has definitely been great for Levy this game. The time he has invested in moves has been quite useful. And let's see if we get a quick one from Pia. But the most natural is trade, takes, and then takes c4, takes a7. I mean, I wouldn't want to give up the a pawn, but how else can black play? Maybe takes a5 could be possible.
I mean, maybe she wants to still play the same idea. If we take her first, takes.
Yeah.
I mean, can she still play c5? But this just is not as good anymore.
Yeah, I'm worried. Well, not worried, but I'm thinking, do I have some back rank situation? But maybe she can play a5 before taking on c4. Just hold, not give me the pass pawn, or give Levy in this case. Yeah, this actually looks more sensible, right? Like otherwise you have to worry about that pawn the entire endgame. But I'm happy if I'm white, because trading off that rook on b3 and getting my own rook on the open file, I'm pretty good with that. I could take on c6 here, but oh no, I can't, sorry, because rook c6 and then rook back to c8. So yeah, I won't do that. I could do it after bishop c4. So c4, I guess, is not fully hanging here.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried for Pia now. I think maybe she didn't see the c5 idea, or maybe she saw it but didn't really choose to go for that. But yeah, it would have been, it feels like that there were more ways for her to defend easier. This feels a little bit more difficult for black to defend. Like, it feels very easy for white to play this position.
Yeah, no risk at all, I would say. And yeah, I love the time management from Levy. Again, first thing I said today, right? Like, Levy's got the white pieces. He's going to, even though yesterday's game was short, that doesn't mean, Levy's not trying to fight back in the classical portion. And again, I've said this multiple times, these games, you get 3 points for a victory, but they're FIDE rated just normal. You don't get 3 times as much credit for winning the game. So every, actually yesterday I was telling Levy, hey, you gained 1 FIDE point with this draw.
Nice.
So he's
we add up the points.
Yeah, we added the points, and if he can get a win in this game, obviously he equalizes the score in the match, but he also picks up those very precious FIDE points, which can be quite hard to get. But so far, again, he has played fantastically this game. And he's nursing a small advantage. You know, your Pia set hers. Actually, one thing I was going to comment on that she said bishops and rooks. And that's kind of some chess wisdom we have. The bishops and rooks can coordinate very well. The queen and knight can coordinate very well. But she said, I traded my queen. Now my knight doesn't have that wonderful partner. So yeah, we'll see if Levy can grow his advantage and pose more problems to Pia.
Yeah, maybe she regrets now her choice of going queen e5. Now that she saw how the game developed and how she saw that Levy had this idea with knight b4 later on, I think she might slightly regret trading off her queens and not having gone for a more active queen h5 perhaps in that position. Or well, she never could, I guess.
If she played 2 moves in a row.
If she played 2 moves in a
Levy
row.
wasn't the confessional, so maybe she could have got away with it.
Got another one. Yeah, no, she couldn't. Maybe maybe d5, but it was a really nice idea in that moment, but Levy has just been able to play really well after that and just create his own points of weakness to attack. So she's spending some time here. And I'm wondering, I suppose that she's considering both bishop takes c4 and trading off the rooks and then taking. But if she takes here first, takes.
Yeah. Perhaps I can go rook b1 first or bishop a7. Not sure if there's a big... rook b1 looks tempting, right? Get the rook to the open file.
Yeah, of course.
Go back. Bishop takes a7. And now you can maybe go with your idea, right? c5. So we get our own counterplay. c4 is coming. So yeah, pretty interesting, right? Maybe I go a4, you know, just let's have a race. But then the end of d3 is quite useful because c1 is under my control.
I mean, we are 4 moves away from promoting.
I know. Yeah. This, this could get pretty interesting with this pawn race because I think we are going to see very likely a trade of these A and C pawns. But Pia does have these ideas of a5 as well.
I love how Levy's just looking around the room. I saw him looking around like by all the books, and then he was looking at the other side. But yeah, do you do this too?
Look around?
Yeah.
I'm a notorious walker. Like I will get, when it's not my move, I will get up and I like to look at other games and just walk around. That's why I think this event, I was asking Levy, I'm like, yeah, isn't it more fun when, I'm sitting here, we were comfortable and commentating, having a great time. I was like, but don't you wish I was playing too? Because you can look at my game, you can look at yours. But I don't look around. I walk around. What about you?
No, I sit a lot by the board.
Do you look around or?
No, a little bit. No, I think I'm mostly sitting very focused by the board. But then time just passes way too quickly. Like I will think that I have time to go get a coffee and chill and whatever, but all of a sudden I have 20 minutes on my clock left and I can't do that anymore. So I just sit there. But
I think it's great that you're sitting, you're using your time, maybe too much of it, but you're working very hard. You're thinking,
I'm thinking.
Yeah. So it's time well spent. Sometimes.
Just like Pia is doing right now. I'm very impressed though by Pia's time management as well, because she does typically struggle with time management and she's been able to keep up very well this game, I think. So as long as we don't see any of the players take a very long think at some point and go down all their time, I think it's going to be quite a pleasant game for both of them.
Yeah. What do you think of her body language? I think I saw a little maybe... I don't know. I'll tell you what I think, but I think you're the expert.
What do you think?
I thought she was a little bit uncomfortable. Like I think like she kind of leaned back and she put her hand over her mouth a little bit. I think she's like, oh, like a little bit like I gotta work some stuff out here. That's kind of the sense I got.
I think she knows that she has to work some stuff out here, but I think that she's just trying to work that stuff out. I don't know if she's like super uncomfortable, but I think she just in general feels like she has a worse position and she needs to find ways of defending it. So, but I think in general, she's been in a very good mood today. I can tell from all her confessionals. Yeah. She's in very high spirits. And she's just been playing this game. Like she's just been playing a game of chess and yeah, like she's in high spirits. So we'll see now what she decides to do. I really just hope she doesn't start doubling up rooks and give up the pawns, but I can't see her doing that.
No. I think it's, she's also looking ahead, right? It's not just like, what do I play in this next move? She's thinking of the different types of transformations this endgame can occur. And speaking of the players, I wanted to give a little shout out. I know the camera's not on Levy right now, but you noticed something about his wardrobe for the day?
I do.
Yeah. Let's see if we'll get him back on screen. Maybe we'll see.
Do you want to bring it?
Yeah. Why not? You want to? Let's bring him.
Let's bring it.
Let's show off our own stuff here too.
We got a very cool wardrobe, everybody, and we're very excited about this. We received some gifts today before the game, and I didn't know that Levy received it too.
Whoops. Yep.
But we got some really cool merch. Look at this. We got some really cool merch from Svarta Hästen, which is the place where they're playing. And this is a chess club as well. So they gave us some official chess club merch. Svarta Hästen chess club merch, which is really cool.
Do you like what hoodies?
I like hoodies. I live in hoodies at home. I don't wear hoodies so much outside, but as soon as I get home, like literally,
It's
like 2
comforting.
minutes,
Yeah.
I change
Into a hoodie.
into hoodie. So,
Awesome. So this is perfect for you.
yes, absolutely. So it's really fun that we got it. And in case you don't know what Svarta Hästen means, in Swedish, it means the Black Knight. So this
I
is
didn't know what it
called,
meant. Okay.
yeah. So it's called the Black Knight chess bar, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love hoodies, so this is perfect for me. I wear all the time. Yeah.
Amazing. Then you got a great hoodie that you can rock, and you can tell all of your American friends that it's from this place in Sweden.
I'm a walking product placement. Exactly.
All right.
So if anyone's watching, you got some cool hoodies, send them my way.
Yeah. Yeah. Svarta Hästen is the name, and we're very happy that we get to have them as our venue, because look how cozy it is with all the chess clocks and all the chess books and everything. Do you read a lot of chess books?
I've definitely read a lot of chess books growing up. Recently, not as much. I feel like the chess books that we read nowadays are like opening books, just new stuff when the openings come out. But when I was growing up, I've definitely read quite a few books on chess culture and chess history. So yeah, it looks very cozy. And maybe this also has been inspiring the players. We have a move from Pia.
We do.
Grabs the pawn.
Grabs the pawn.
So we might get one of these, unbalanced positions where Levy can snap the pawn in a7, and he's got the a pawn. Pia's got the c pawn. Let's see who's gonna go.
It's gonna be a race. So do you think he's gonna start by taking the rook, or do you think he's gonna start by taking the pawn? It feels more natural somehow to take the rook first and get the pieces a little bit less coordinated. But at the same time, maybe that also opens up for a faster c5, c4.
Yeah, I think you got that right on the money there. It's gonna take a little time to work out the differences. I also like my rook in a1 in some positions because it's right behind the passed pawn, right? So I take on a7 and then march. And if black takes on b1, then I say, okay, thank you. Now my rook gets to the open file. So perhaps it's a bit more flexible to take an a7 since I'm not worried about rook b1, and I still keep that option open of rook b3. So yeah, maybe bishop a7. I wonder if Pia can go with c5 here. What about now? Can we do it or no? You can, but after, yeah, so rook b3, bishop b3, and a4. We got this race starting. a4, what if c4? Let's just kind of push everything through. a5, c3, this is just illustrative. a6, c2, bishop e3, just in time. And this is the power of the bishops, right? The bishop on e3, defends c1, but I'm also ready to play a7, a8. So I think that's actually a very, very good line to showcase how in this position, this is the danger for black. Like this a pawn supported by the rook and the two bishops can be a major menace to the game.
And this is, I think, not so easy to immediately see. Like you have to do some deep calculation to see all of this and get to this point, because otherwise, if you don't fully get here, many things here can look scary and it can make you not do certain moves, I think. So in this position, I mean,
Levy hasn't played there. He's thinking after Pia played bishop c4.
He's thinking, yeah. So the current position.
He takes on b3 first.
He takes on b3.
Also fine. And then after bishop takes, he's going to take on a7.
He has to take on a7, yeah.
Obviously, Pia has recaptured. So we expect these moves to come in quite quickly, unless they're confessing.
No?
I guess he can play rook b1 first as well, right? But maybe you don't need to, right? The rook in a1 is really well placed.
Behind the pawn.
Yeah. So just take an a7 here, and then try to push a4.
And how do we do to stop this? Because if we go for c5,
then we looked at this. Yeah, with
yeah,
a4,
we have the same thing as before.
It's go time. Yeah,
it's go time. But this is going to take some time, I think, to calculate, because it doesn't look completely immediate obvious, especially with the knight on d3, literally at the perfect spot to support the pawn to promote. Because there could be a lot of moves here. I mean, there could. Well, yeah, I was going to say there could be some rook c7s, but you just go bishop b6.
Bishop b6 and then a5.
And this bishop is just so strong.
Working amazingly well in tandem. Yeah, I mean, you could play, maybe in this move order, Pia can play bishop a4. Just like no a4 at all, right? So maybe that was like a little difference for Levy. If he started with bishop a7, that's not easy to see. I assume his idea is probably to play with rook b1, because I feel like he thought I take and I grab the tempo and my rook comes in. But maybe this was not the strongest choice, because the rook in a1 is really useful, right? For this a pawn. So he's probably thinking about that right now.
Yeah. Should it stay on A1? Should it go to B1? Should I take here? Let's say that that he takes here. Then yeah, like you're saying, bishop A4 could be a really interesting move to stop this a pawn from pushing, and now preparing C5, C4, C3.
Yeah.
And you know, this knight, it's kind of hard to get rid of it. You can't go rook D1. You have to attack it with a bishop if you want to move it. Maybe you can go something like bishop E4 if you want to move it.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I probably would consider rook B1 because now on A1, it's like, I can't push the pawn, right? So I might as well get it to an open file.
Here you go, rook B1, yeah.
Yeah, and then, yeah, and if you play a move like C5, I could come up with ideas of rook B7 and bishop D5, and suddenly, like, I switched over from trying to promote my pawn to just combining the power of the rook and the bishop to create threats. And yeah, like rook B7 here, for example, I think
looks really strong.
Could be an idea, although, you know, C4, C3 is also coming. But hey, and black does have bishop B8, which is actually the move in the first game, right? Pia also had that resource, so maybe that idea isn't as strong as I first thought. But yeah, Levy's deciding. Yeah, he's thinking, do I take an A7 or do I throw in this rook B1 move?
And look how close the times are right now. The times are really close. If they just keep going this way, it feels like it's gonna march down at the same time. But it's gonna be really exciting to see how far down they go. So yeah, do you think he'll play rook B1 or do you think he'll go for grabbing this pawn?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think 50-50 right now, because I think his original intention was rook B1, but now he's paused, right? So now he's paused, so now he's not sure himself. So that makes it hard to tell, right? When he played rook B3, I would have said, yeah, he plays rook B1, and he does. Okay, so yeah, I think that was his whole idea, but he was just thinking, maybe I take an A7 instead.
Another question is, where does this bishop go? The bishop has to move, and it has a few different places to go to. It could go to A4, like we said before. It could also just go to E6, which feels maybe more natural to stay on this diagonal, although here it's defending this pawn as well, which gives mobility to the rook.
Yeah, bishop E6 looks super natural here, and bishop A7 and
C5.
C5, absolutely. Just push that pawn down the board. And here, yeah, I'm not a huge... I really like that other situation where Levy... Because now, if you play A4, the rook in B1 is not well placed after C4, because now you're going to get hit with the tempo, right? So if you just keep going with A5, you're... And I was going to say, I think you might be losing. Yeah, well, here you're definitely losing.
Yeah,
but
you get hit with this tempo.
Yeah, that rook in B1, it's slightly misplaced, I think. So it looks so natural for Levy to do this, but keeping it an A1 was actually, I think, more testing for Pia.
And Levy standing up, it might be that he's going to go to the confessional booth and tell us a little bit about his thoughts very soon. So we will see. But I really think that Pia will probably just play bishop E6. It looks like such a natural move. I don't know if there's any difference with playing bishop A4. Let's say that we would go for the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also looks quite reasonable, but yeah, I think the bishop has many, like E6 feels the most safe. Like, you know, my bishop's protected there, and just keep it on that square. But I think the plan for is the same. Just push this pawn down the board, and we could see something happen where white will win the C pawn in exchange for the A pawn, and then once those pawns get off the board, then it's a draw. Then there's not enough imbalance left for either side to pursue victory.
Exactly. So right now, whatever the eval bar says, there is...
And she made the move. I saw it on the camera. Yeah.
There is chances for both players because we have this imbalance of a C pawn versus a passed A pawn. So definitely imbalance the position. She ends up playing bishop E6, and look at that. She's doing it smartly. She's doing it whilst Levy is.
Yeah, she waited for him to get up.
Do you ever do that? Do you wait for your opponent to go and then make a move?
Yeah. Also, sometimes like your opponent will be walking away. Maybe they go to the rest. Sometimes you probably play tournaments where the restroom can be quite far from the board.
Yeah, and you know it.
Yeah, when I see my opponents going, I'll try to make the move.
Exactly.
And I'll also try to make it where like sometimes they're like walking, they're like looking back, like, okay, just move. And then I'm like, oh, I'm thinking, just kidding. And then try to bleed them down, you know, as much as I can on the clock. Although usually it's me who's needs that time a lot more.
Yeah. But we see bishop E6. Very nice move. And I can only imagine that he will now capture this before it's too late, because if he waits, C5 is coming. Then all of a sudden...
Well, you're down a pawn.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, white can't capture this anymore.
Well, the thing is, he can't make a move because he's not at the board.
Yeah, that is true as well. That is true as well. But I think we will absolutely be seeing this. I will say, though, that this position, to me, looks a lot nicer than other positions Pia could have had in other situations. For instance, if he would have taken this pawn immediately, and this pawn just was off the board.
Yeah. I mean, again, the rook in B1 we talked about it a little bit. It's just, it looks good, but it's, what is it really doing, right? Like, you can put on d7, but there's nothing on the 7th rank to really attack. So it was a little bit of a maybe slightly superficial decision for Levy, because if he kept him in a1, I thought it's going to be a little tricky. Yeah, with this plan of running the a pawn. Now it feels like really they should probably peter out into a draw. But still, Letiev play to go, like you said, for both sides. Both sides have this passed pawn. So if Levy over pushes something, could get bad. Or if he figures out a way to get his pawn moving, and we see him return to the board, then he'll still have chances of his own.
So let's see what he decides to do. He is writing down the move now on our gigantic score sheets, which I just love. They're literally on A4 paper. They're huge.
Okay. Are these, do you think these score sheets might, I know there's going to be a fan event. You think these could be, I don't know, raffled or auctioned or autographed? Or
I don't know.
don't know?
I don't know, but that is true. We do have a fan event the 3rd of November, me and Levy here in Stockholm. It's going to be our very first fan event together, and it's going to be very exciting. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what he ends up doing. I'm trying to think here, what is the scariest thing that Levy could do? Like, let's say it goes bishop b7 to try to place the bishop on a6. Now I see the difference actually between the bishop being on a4 and e6, which is that now after the rook moves somewhere, I'm not sure where it goes, if bishop a6, you can still push c4 because the bishop is defending the pawn, whereas on a4, the bishop was not defending the pawn anymore.
I guess an idea of bishop e7 is also to chase the rook off c8, and then, you know, Levy removed his rook from being behind the passed pawn, and now Black's rook would also be pushed off from supporting c4. So maybe not bishop a6 because it doesn't really prevent c4 anyway. Maybe he can go a4 now, and then c4, and then let's see. Can I keep pushing here? I want to, but again, the rook and b1, it's under this tempo with c2. It's really unnecessarily there. Like if I go a5, like c3, like I was hoping to come back bishop e3, right? Which is what I did last. Imagine my rook was in a1. I think I'd just be winning because a6 comes, but now comes c2. Okay, let's say I go rook a1. And apparently this is losing for a number of reasons, but this is a really beautiful one. Knight c5, what a nasty move. I'm threatening rook d1. I'm threatening the bishop. I'm threatening knight b3. And Black's pawn has, it's very close to promotion. That rook b1, yeah, it's rook b1, rook b1. Isn't that like one of Levy's songs or memes or something? It sounds familiar.
I don't know. Maybe you know him better than I do.
It sounds familiar. It's this rook b1, rook b1. I feel like it was in some song, some viral clip or something like that. And maybe that was going through his mind when he played it.
Yeah, but it's one of those moves that it just looks really good, and I think that's the thing in chess. I think it's the same with knight d3. My mom had the same thing the move before. It looks good, active, let's go forward, but that's not always the best thing to do in chess. But it's hard to see those nuances in the moment. Yeah.
And I think the fact that Levy's thinking now, he might be realizing that because, you know, bishop a7, well, you're down a pawn, take the pawn back. So why is he thinking? Well, I think he's thinking ahead. He's like, wait a minute, c5. Wait a second, right? This is not so simple. Now, by the way, there's not really, I think, you know, there's a lot of positions where this peters out into a draw with like the lights for a bishop, trades for the knight, or, you know, you get opposite color. You can play like rook b8, trade the rooks and bring the king in, and the c pawn will not be a menace. So there's a lot of ways this can just go into a just, you know, quick draw, or quick equality. But I think both sides are, especially Levy, he's thinking, I got to use this a pawn, right? I got to try to make use of my strength here, but it's hard.
I think that Levy also probably feels like he's had an advantage now for a little while, like a small advantage. So to just let it fizzle out into a draw without even pushing fully, I think it's not something he's going to do. I think he's going to push here. Yeah,
he's definitely looking for a way to do so. But yeah, let's see. I wonder what else he can be thinking about here, other than bishop a7. I feel like he's just calculating ahead. And okay, we're gonna find out, I think, yeah?
We're gonna find out. We have another confession with Levy ready right now. Let's go ahead and listen to it.
Okay. This will probably be my last confessional. I feel like in game one, I did one right at the critical moment when I liked my position. Then it went all downhill. This one is a little bit less complicated than that game, so I'm feeling pretty good. I did one interesting thing, which is I didn't take the pawn on c6. I might live to regret it. I saw some lines where if I take the pawn on c6, she can like play rook c8, bishop a4. I have doubled pawns. I wasn't sure if I could hold both of them, so I went for this instead. And I just played the move rook b1. And I don't really know how she's going to defend her a pawn. And then after that, I don't really know how she's going to defend the endgame because I'm going to have two bishops and an outside pass pawn. So I think worst case scenario, the game is a draw. Best case scenario, I find a way to win. I think that's all I have. Whew, a little nervous. I'm going to go.
All right. So he seems pretty comfortable. He did explain why he didn't take that pawn on c6. He was scared of Pia being able to go rook c8 and then pick out those c pawns, which makes sense. He did find another great move, rook e1, but now it has led to Pia having the c pawn that she can use and that she can fight with. And she's going to fight with it until the very end. So Levy's still thinking in this position. Let's see what he ends up doing, but I can't see him doing anything apart from picking up this pawn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely sympathize with him saying, oh, I feel a little nervous because like you said, okay, like worst case is going to be a draw, but I think I can win this as well. So when you realize, hey, like I actually got like some good chances to win, you get a little, nervous. At least I do. You're like, oh, in anticipation and excitement. But I think he's realizing it's not so easy. Again, at the same time, like he said, I think it'll be a draw worst case. Hard to disagree with him unless well, we'll see. But yeah, I think he's definitely thinking about taking this pawn. Like, I mean, I guess he can attack the knight first, right? Like maybe he's thinking bishop f1, right? Chase the knight out of the way. Maybe that's actually not so stupid, right? Because that, like, let's look at bishop f1 specifically. Because I also maybe, I don't know, just that knight was kind of annoying, right? So now Pia will go knight e5, and then maybe now he'll take on a7, right? But I guess here specifically, there's knight f3, knight d2, and okay, that's immediate draw, because I'm getting rid of that light square bishop.
Can we even go bishop here?
Yeah, maybe there's even something more.
Things?
Yeah, maybe black can try to get a little more ambitious, but the point is knight d2 and there's zero to play for because after the opposite color bishops, it's going to be a very straightforward draw. So yeah, perhaps he's looking at that, but now, now you can't take an a7. I guess you can play bishop e4 instead of bishop f1. Let's look at that perhaps. Try to get into Levy's mind. Because now knight e5, yeah, maybe this makes sense because now I take an a7, so you don't have that check in f3. So, well, yeah, I see that's, okay, so now you're threatening a3 and you're threatening knight d2. So you're, these knights,
these knights
are
we
pretty,
saw it in round 1, 2. The knights can be very annoying. How are you going to go rook a1? That looks
rook a1 would.
Oh, rook.
Yeah, you can play rook a8.
You can go rook a8 and just trade immediately if you want.
Yeah.
I guess there's bishop c5 actually.
No, that's true. Yeah, but this looks like, you're going rook b1 back to a1. But I think Levy's looking at the stuff, just obviously trying to make something work. Actually, this idea of hitting the knight is fairly logical because the knight could be annoying on d3, but it looks like it's annoying on plenty of other squares as well.
And I think also the thing is that we're seeing everything with an eval bar, we're seeing everything with an engine, but this position where you see this pawn running down, it's further up than what this a pawn is, and even though the a pawn can be fast, it also looks as if it's going to be slower with the bishop blocking and everything. This can be very scary to see if you don't calculate for quite a long time. So here you definitely need time to calculate. And I don't think the players have had that much time yet to fully go through these lines.
I think here, to be fair, Levy can play rook b8, and I would be hard-pressed to imagine he's in any danger because you eliminate that annoying rook. Of course, you can't win this at all anymore. Well, actually, okay, maybe you can. Like if you actually still, I shouldn't say that because there's still some a4 ideas. But yeah, the idea is that after c4, I'm gonna use my my bishops, like maybe like I don't know, bishop e4 was the idea that I had. But I suppose after f5, I just have to take on d3, and then we get a draw. If you go a4 here, I think c3, you're gonna get into some trouble because the knight dominates the bishop. You can't bring it into f4 anywhere. So yeah, but here bishop e4 stops c3, f5, trade on d3, and draw. I will blockade this pawn. So Levy's not, I think, in danger. Like he can even see a variation like this. I think he's investing that time because he wants to find a way to post problems. He's not just content with the draw here.
That makes sense. And to everybody that doesn't really know why this is a draw, we're just going, oh, this is a draw. Different colored bishop endgames are a draw because basically you can just block e4 against each other. And we have bishop e4.
Yeah.
Okay.
And immediately knight e5 from Pia, which is
immediately,
immediately knight e5. To be fair, where else is he going to go? Yeah. So very fair.
Probably already looked at that.
Yeah. And now bishop a7. Yeah. No, this makes a lot of sense because now that now you kick the knight from the active square, but yeah, that knight c4 move we were looking at looks like it would be quite strong afterwards, because then you're still menacing the a3 pawn and the fork on d2.
Yeah, and you're finally getting this knight to be a strong piece. It feels like the knight has been a little bit clumsy throughout this game.
There's the clumsy knight and there's the dark knight or the black knight. What is the name of the translation?
Yeah, the black knight.
Black
yeah,
knight,
exactly.
yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
black knight is there, but
there.
it's a clumsy knight.
Yeah.
It's felt like, but now it's actually started to become a little bit more active. And she was saying that, oh, with the rooks, it's not as good. But here on c4, it's actually going to become quite a strong piece.
Yeah, very, very, very jumpy horse here. And Levy's thinking again. I mean, okay, you got to take an a7 at some point. So maybe now.
Maybe this is the moment.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, I think. And by the way, now the time is not critical at all yet. But the fact that Levy's investing all this time and Pia is playing quickly, you can maybe infer that he's really digging in, trying to find something. But she's nice and comfortable. She's already kind of planned it out. I think we're probably heading for a more peaceful result now.
We might be, but I can still see this going anyway. But we're seeing bishop takes a7. Of course, it's going to be a peaceful result if we don't see any big inaccuracy from any of the players. But still, this race, right? The c pawn versus the a pawn.
Also, here, if Pia goes c5, then I think there's bishop b7, and now you can get into a bit of trouble because how are you? And this is pretty funny. If you go rook c7. Bishop b8.
Bishop b8. Look at that knight.
Yeah, that's quite clumsy. Yeah.
That would be a clumsy rook.
Yeah, everything's clumsy in that position.
Yeah.
So yeah, she can't. So I think this was Levy's idea. He's like, I don't want that. That's actually smart. Now c5, bishop b7. So yeah, but knight c4 is very annoying. Hitting that fork on d2 and hitting the pawn on a3. But if Pia doesn't play there and Levy gets a couple moves, to play a4 and a5, which is the dream. And a6, and a7, a8,
well, and a queen too.
And a queen, yeah, gift
we
and
just
everything.
Fly.
Yeah, then so I think here if Pia plays this knight c4, it's going to be very precise.
We're going to see if she does this move. She's spending a little bit of time thinking here, but still we see 8 minutes up for her. I mean, soon we're going to get into decisive territory. Like, in around 20 minutes, it's going to be, very intense, I feel like. Maybe not in the position, but I feel like in general, we're going to be more tense than what we are right now.
Yeah, of course. The clock, if they had a minute each in this position, it would have been 6 results possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Even ones you haven't heard about
exactly.
yet.
3.
The arbiter steps in and claims a double forfeit, and knight c4 is on the board. Very strong move from Pia here. And the issue is, of course, is that it's not just this pawn that's hanging. Is that if you play a4, one of the issues is that you got knight d2. And if if you don't have this bishop pair, you just don't have anything. And now this position, both sides are, black is going to be really strong in the light squares. Levy's going to be, I guess, reasonably strong in the dark squares. But here, yeah, there is no chance for Levy to bring this to anywhere except draw. So yeah, knight c4 is a really accurate move from Pia. And yeah, let's see if Levy's going to try to fight on. Like you said, he could play maybe rook a1, which just shows you that rook b1 maybe was really an admission of this mistake. But this is like tries to keep the fight alive, right? Just let's try to see if we can run the pawn.
But sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to admit that a move wasn't the most accurate in that position. And then the best thing to do is actually to just go back. You don't always have to prove to yourself that every move you've made has been correct. And I think that's also a sign of a very strong player to be able to admit that and just kind of take it back.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's the nice thing, right? They say pawns never move backwards, but other pieces still can, until chess 2 comes out.
It's the same in life,
That's true.
You can grow as a person, and the things that you thought at some point don't always have to be what you think in the future. You can change your ways of thinking.
Absolutely. I think that's a valuable lesson to everyone watching.
And another great thing that you can think is that Blitz Fuel is an amazing energy drink.
Yeah, you could certainly think that. And we would
and you
love
can keep
to
on
drink
thinking
some.
that.
Yeah.
You don't have to switch your mind of thinking about that. We're very thankful for Blitz Fuel for being one of the official sponsors of this event, helping us to make all of this happen. We're still waiting for our Blitz Fuel to arrive. We're sitting here drinking water, being sad and wishing that this was Blitz Fuel instead.
But we want it for the Blitz portion especially.
We do.
For the players, for ourselves, for the arbiter, get him some Blitz Fuel.
We're going to give him some Blitz Fuel.
Yep, he's going to be chugging. He's going to be ready to make every claim possible. Exactly. We're going to get everyone nice and energized.
We're going to see him running around the playing hole.
I'd love that.
I would love that too. We have a code, code Gotham, which gives you a very nice discount. So ! Blitz Fuel, and you'll be able to, did we make a move? No. And you'll be able to access the website and pick out your favorite energy drink. All right, let's see what's happening. Knight c4 was the final move.
Yep.
16 minutes, time is ticking. 5 more minutes and we get into rapid territory.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think, yeah, this is Levy's thinking, okay, I don't know if you just saw that. He just did a little sigh. But I was going to say, he's got to decide, do I keep pushing this? Do I try to play rook A1? I need to save that pawn. Or, I mean, he's got a lot of ways to bring this to safety. For example, maybe even like rook C1, which has the idea of, just give him the A pawn, take the C pawn, shake hands, come over here, smile, and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, rook C1 here in this position.
Yeah.
Just allowing
trade. Yeah. And this would be a draw because, not just we're exhausting all the resources. Now that you got the bishop pair, but they're not worth much when you have, they're worth not anything extra because you're only fighting one side of the board. Had we had that A pawn, that would have changed the story.
Exactly. There's no pass pawn. There's no imbalance here that can make these bishops try to coordinate into helping out another strength. It would just be completely equal, and it would be extremely easy for the bishop and knight to stop any future pass pawns that could promote to a queen.
Yeah,
so that is
very symmetrical. Yeah.
Very symmetrical, and that is why this is a draw. And do you also really quickly just want to explain why different colored bishop endgames are a draw?
Yeah, not always, but very often they are considered very drawish. For the simple reason, if I have a light square bishop, you have a dark square bishop, we can't break through on the other person's color complex, right? It's almost like there's like I think like a meme that I saw, like it's like two bishops like that are opposite color standing in front of each other, and they're just like kind of aiming at the completely opposite thing, and they can't hit each other. So a lot of times those positions are drawn, even if one side has a 1 or 2 or some rare cases 3 pawn advantage, because I just blockade everything on my strong color, and that would be the case here as well. So yeah, Levy's of course aware of this. He's thinking, okay, do I get the draw? Do I fight on? I think that as we see his time tick down, he still has 14 minutes, which is quite reasonable, and he's got the 30-second increment. Perhaps if the time was switched, I think if he had 30 and Pia had 13, he would probably fight on, just for the simple reason that you don't really risk too much, and she would have less time. But here, with his time being half as much as Pia's, I think that there's a really high probability that he's going to go for just immediate equalization with rook c1 or rook b8 or some other move as well.
So you don't think that we're going to see rook a1 in this position?
It would surprise me. I'll be honest. I think that not that this move wins or anything, it's just like you're trying to at least continue, right? You're trying to avoid losing that pawn. And like we mentioned, like if rook a8, then you have bishop c5, right? Just like no pawn for you.
So how do you even continue here with black? Trying to look at because rook a8, we have this problem.
Yeah, bishop c5 and
this pawn is hanging.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe there's rook c8 after, so maybe not hanging just yet. But yeah, rook a1, but then maybe the knight keeps jumping. Maybe Pia can go knight d2 instead of rook a8. Here also, but earlier instead of rook a8, I can go knight d2, and this is going to threaten the bishop. I also have ideas of knight b3. I can also play c5 at this point, I think, as well. So yeah, I think Levy could see this and he'll be thinking, well, my pawn, it's still very far, right? If you play a4, then I go c4. So all of a sudden, it's like, who's playing for the win? My pawn is very strong. The knight comes to b3 now. So this is all of a sudden backfiring. So I think that realistically, he should just kind of play one of the safer moves here. He's got tons of them, and it will be a draw.
Yeah. So this could actually be a pretty big decision for Levy right now. Is he going to go for the draw, or is he going to go and try to push for the win? But in that way, also allowing maybe Pia to get some counterplay, and if not played correctly, could even be dangerous for Levy. So we will see what he decides to do. He only has 12 minutes now. So 14 minutes less than Pia. Time is definitely ticking down, and there's going to be a big moment. Is he going to go rook c1? Is he going to go rook b8? Is he going to put? Can he push?
Knight d2, right?
Yeah, knight d2 is the thing.
That's another move that's also just admitting that, all right, we'll make a draw. So
here, can we go rook a1?
You want to try to fight for the win? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah,
I'm just trying to find what chances there are, but no, I guess no.
Wait. Oh, wow, that's so sneaky. And then rook d1 after. Wow, that's very tricky. Rook d1 and back rank. So I'm down a piece, but only for one mild moment. And you can't move the knight because of back rank, and you can't defend the knight either.
No, you can't even go bishop d7. So what move was played? Rook b8 was played, and Levy decides to go for this endgame.
Yeah. We will see a handshake. Well, there's no, yeah, we don't have any rules here about 30 moves or anything like that, right? So,
I think there is. I'm not entirely sure. Actually,
there?
it's the arbiter that knows.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, they're at move 28. They're definitely
yeah,
going to
I
make
was
a
just
few more
wondering.
moves.
Yeah, I mean, what I
Yeah.
predict happens is Pia will take on B8, Levy will take on B8,
Mhm.
Pia will take on A3, Levy will take on C6. That will bring us to move 30, and we will have a draw.
Yeah, probably that's going to happen. You don't see Levy wanting to keep on playing that position.
Nope.
No, no.
Do you see Pia?
No, but I
Yeah.
don't think she's gonna offer a draw.
Okay.
So yeah,
No extra points for who offers it, though.
I know, but
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
But this is a move. They both understand that,
Yeah.
you know, they're drawing. Neither side can avoid this position, at least without, you know, some,
Crazy moves.
yeah, without some self-compromising moves, let's say. And we already have them on the board. Yeah, we have this capture.
Mhm.
Let's see, takes. Again, I mean, you know, Black could play Bishop D5, right? If Pia wants to fight on. But then I'm not sure you want to, because I'll trade and then I'll play A4. And it's like, wait a minute, like my A pawn is still on the board. So yeah, that's why that's not going to happen. And after Bishop C6, I don't think they have a 30 move rule, but I think if I think they will agree to a draw.
Very
now.
soon or now.
Yeah, now or on the next move. If it is a 30 move rule, then Black needs to play a move here, because White has made 30 moves. This was move 30 for Levy,
Yeah.
but Pia's only made 29 moves.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell a super quick anecdote. This happened in one of my an event I was in. There was a 15 move rule,
Mhm.
and then White offered a draw on move 15,
Mhm.
and then Black went to the arbiter and was like, you know, he's offering me a draw, but he's made 15 moves, but I haven't, and then blah blah blah. And then they made one more move and agreed to a draw. So it's like, what was the point of that? You know,
So it was a big argument about it in the middle.
I wouldn't say a big argument, but it was some useless discussion.
Yeah.
But I guess, draw.
It's done.
And 30 moves exactly. So
At
yeah.
30 moves exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go.
Can we hear some postmortems today?
Yes, we can, everybody. Yes, we can. The game is officially finished.
What's today?
Yes, we can, everybody. Let's go ahead and see if we can hear the players.
Somehow, but
Yeah, maybe not take on beef. You know, I was
Let's go
quite
ahead and-
optimistic, but then I realized it went wrong for me. Yeah, I was.
Can we?
But I thought
Yeah,
I
we
had to
can.
play.
But then we're going to hear ourselves
I
too.
see.
Which could be for bishop b2 and this diagonal itself. So I thought
you know, in the confessional,
can.
I said
But then we're
I
gonna
should
hear
have played
ourselves too.
before when you played d6,
yeah.
and then I should have played before instead of bishop g2. Like I should have played before immediately.
All the time, yes, I expected that. Because also, if you take here, I'm not so happy to take with this pawn because I don't control e5.
Yeah.
So b4 is very good to play immediately. Yes, that's what I thought. And probably it could be that I played too ambitious in the opening because I open up for a bishop. Yes. So.
Yeah, maybe.
But also.
If I didn't take your queen, if I played b3.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know if I can take on c4 or if I can go queen
Yeah,
h5.
queen h5.
Queen h5 looks very natural.
Yeah, and
But
knight e5, bishop h3. I was
Yes.
like, I'm getting mated.
Yeah. No, I thought you have to take.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure what to take with. I took with the pawn. I wasn't sure if I should take with the knight. Maybe I wasn't sure what. Both of them were very exciting. I saw b4, bishop e6, but I forgot about d3. I somehow forgot about d3.
Oh, d3.
Yeah,
I saw the sequence, d3 takes rook d8. I thought it was much worse for me, but I saw bc knight b4, and I thought like, oh, that's,
Then that's very fine. No, I forgot about knight before. No, when I saw you can play knight before after taking on c5, then I asked, I knew I have to fight here. You know, maybe also when you took on b3, maybe take on a7 first. Because my piece is a little bit awkward. What shall I play?
Yeah.
I was concerned about taking on a7 first.
I thought you can play c5 fast.
And you go a4.
Yeah, maybe I just start pushing. Yeah,
You go a4. I was concerned about that.
and I can play like bishop b6 and a5
Yeah.
because my rook defends my bishop.
Yeah, you can always play it. And also, if as soon as I go c5, your bishop is playing. And this one is very, because I lose one tempo. So I was quite happy when you took on b3. I just thought now my bishop it's not in the way for the pawn if I want to play it. And then after I had some knight moves and I could just try to play actively. But I was concerned about taking on a7 directly. But I couldn't see how I could play differently because I was a little bit scared of I keep the pawns, and you go and take my a pawn. So that's why I played bishop takes c4.
I guess I really wanted my rook there. I wanted like rook b1, rook b7, rook a7. Then I thought, bishop a7 and just a4.
Yes, the a4 next move. That's what I was. I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I had. Wait a moment. I took here, and you can take here. Yeah, I can try something like bishop b5, but I don't think I can stop the pawn. I think this is just getting, because I never had rook a8. You just take on b5, because you always want to play with the bishop against the knight, of course. So yeah, I was.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
That was what. Afterwards, I thought it still could be very dangerous for me, but at least my pieces are better placed.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I didn't want to get low on time and lose, like in game one. No, I should definitely maybe rook a1, try something. But once you got this triangle.
Yeah, after now, rook a1, I'm not sure. I go knight d2.
Yeah, knight d2.
And then I will go, I don't know, okay, bishop d2. I thought I will kick you. And you will need to go bishop e3.
You can go back. Rook a6 and somehow.
Rook e6. I can also, I can even go knight b3. Maybe not knight b3 because there are mates on the last rank. So that could be a little bit tricky, actually.
Bishop a7 and a4 is strong,
Bishop a7,
I didn't think to push the pawn, which is funny because it's all I have.
And you have the rook on the best place.
I know,
Rook on the,
I think twice in this game, I just mentally prepared for a position with one rook. So I thought I should trade the rook and play rook b1. But maybe I shouldn't. I should just sit and just push. And
because your a-pawn is very... As soon as I start moving it has to be very quick because otherwise there are some lines. I get the pawn to c2, but you go bishop e3 and then you're queening here. So it doesn't work for me. So I was.
I guess we should join the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I not sign?
So let's see. Yes, we put on the kings here, as we should do that.
I can fix it. Also, the opening was very interesting. Like every move was interesting. I thought.
I also thought so.
To what the players have been saying, and I think it's so sweet that they take this moment to analyze what happened, and it just shows great sportsmanship, right? Like after the game, you talk to your opponent, you talk about your different thoughts during the game, and you discuss it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lost art. I feel like nowadays players, they don't really have that many post-mortems. They just finish. Okay, let me go to my room. What's the computer saying?
Running.
Yeah, just see what the computer's saying. So it's great to see both Levy and Pia going over the game. I mean, we are going to have them come in here. We'll ask them some questions. But overall, it was a very well played game from both players. You could hear them discussing a little bit of the moves there. And like Levy was saying, he's like, I thought my rook should have been on b1, but Pia was saying, no, on a1, and then you can push the pawn. And Levy was saying, oh, that's a good point. That's all I have, this pawn. So perhaps I think to me, that was his biggest moment of the game. It was not like he was winning or anything, but it would have been more challenging, I think, for Pia. So it sounds like the players themselves figured that out on their own. But it'll be interesting. We got a lot of confessions from them. We got their post-mortem, and now we get to have them with us. It's a real treat to follow them, from start to finish, basically.
Absolutely. And it's just been a very exciting game. Even if it's been a draw, I think there's this misconception that, draws are boring. But I don't think that's true. I think draws can be very exciting. And this was one of those games where I think that this draw was very exciting. And Levy was pushing for the win throughout the game. He was pushing for trying to find that advantage that could lead to him being able to try to push for the win. At the end, he couldn't find it. Like you're saying, rook b1 was a critical moment. He ended up not placing the rook on b1, placing the rook on b1 and not having it on a1, allowing for that a pawn to push. And so then they were able to trade off the pieces, and it ended in a draw. But do you think overall that Levy's happy with this?
I think so. I think the first round game, of course, he lost the game from a good position with the white pieces. That is far from the optimal start to the match. But yesterday, he had a pretty easy draw, with his opening surprise against Pia. And today, I think he played well. He played well. He got his chances. I think his confidence definitely is going up. We will have one more classical game. He will be playing black tomorrow. Obviously, I'm sure he regrets, game one, at least getting a draw there. If he would have been tied in the match. But overall, the trend has corrected itself, right? I think he's on a positive flow. Tomorrow, you have the black pieces, though. Now the score is 2-1 in terms of a classical scoring, but that also means it's what is it? What's the math? 6-3. Yeah, it's 6-3. So the games are worth 3 points each. He has black, and normally, I know you said your mom Pia, she likes to play the black pieces, but I think Levy does prefer the white pieces. So he needs to definitely, at the very least, draw the game, which would already be quite solid, and take it to the faster portion where there's going to be so many more games with relatively small disadvantage in the match score.
Tomorrow will be the final classical day. We're going to be here at 2 p.m. CT. I was going to say CST, but that's not what it is anymore. We're going to be here at 2 p.m. CT for the final classical game. And after this, everything is going to change. We're going to see so much faster chess. First rapid, we're going to have an intense day on Friday with 6 rapid games, which let me tell you is going to have a bit of everything, I think, where the match score will also be much more decided. And then at the end, 1 day of only blitz games. And I think we're going to see a bit of everything here too. So tomorrow, final classical day. Do you think Levy's excited about the classical finishing, or do you think he's enjoying playing these classical games a lot?
I think he's definitely enjoying it. I know there's been the comments. Oh, Levy, obviously we see him play online, Title Tuesday, all these blitz games. But look, he's on the road to Grandmaster. You do not get your norms from or your points playing online blitz or even over the word blitz, right? You got to play classical chess. He has an opportunity to put himself against a Grandmaster, Pia Kramling. So I think he's his attitude is definitely not, I got to get out of these classical games. Oh my goodness, got to get into the rapid. I mean, he's taking them very seriously. I think he's quite happy to play them and just taking it day by day as he should. I think that's the best and most professional approach.
Yeah, and both players played so well today. I mean, if we look at the accuracy of this game, it was 98.1 for Levy, 98.0 for Pia. So a very well played game by both players that I think ended in quite a fair score.
And do you think this is a result in match situation that Pia is currently satisfied with?
I think she is. I think that she doesn't really mind as long as she has the upper hand in the match.
Sure.
So for now, still, she does have 3 more points than Levy, so she is leading in the match. I think she just in general doesn't want to lose. So if she draws or wins, she's happy. She just doesn't want to lose, I think.
I think that's an attitude we all can aspire to.
I realized something, which is that if you just never lose in chess, if you just draw and win here and there, you would just become so good. The problem is that the losses that you have.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a good approach. And it seems like we have some guests arriving.
We do have some guests over here. We have Pia and Levy. Do you want to start with, you can start with Levy?
It will be my honor.
It's like a very fun game. It's like a lively discussion. So.
It was a fun game. It was exciting.
Let's have a lively discussion.
And we love that you're rocking the hoodie. We got some as well over here.
Yeah, I was gonna rock my. Well, I'll speak.
Yeah, I don't think any people can hear you.
Everybody, say hi to Levy. He's about to join. He's just gonna drink some water. I'm doing live commentary of all of Levy's actions over here. He's about to join.
Oh, he's squatting under a wire. He's made it through.
Thank you. Hello. Welcome. Well, it's just been spoiled for me that this was a super even game, even though we both were discussing a lot of different ideas. So,
welcome, Big Boss.
Yeah, in the age of computers, nothing is interesting anymore. Sorry, it was so equal and nobody made a huge mistake.
Well, yeah, we heard your confessions. We heard your post-mortem discussion. Any other thoughts you want to share? Any other moments you want to highlight in this game?
I don't think anything especially. I mean, the whole game felt really interesting. Like we were just walking and discussing. Is the microphone going to fall off or no? It's good. You just look very concerned. Yeah, we were discussing like a lot of things. I was out of book on move 4. I don't really remember too much about this line other than that black can play knight c6. And when this move happened, I already discussed in the confessional, I thought about playing e4, but I really just wanted some stability. So I thought about playing BC and e4, but I thought this was stupid because normally the knight is on c6, and in this version it's not. So
I don't know. I mean, I can see like you know, some game like e4, etc. But yeah, black can play e4. Yeah, so that's silly. Everything was normal. Yeah, I mean, here I was looking at all sorts of things, and I clearly don't understand chess at all because I thought the best move was maybe d5. Okay, well, my best response is to do this, which I was not thinking. I was thinking like take, and then move my queen somewhere. Okay, queen g3. Yeah, that's super cool. So I thought like d5 was, I didn't know. But like I said at some point I was thinking like, why didn't I go b4? And I see it's like one of the engine moves here. I was like, b4 looks like a move like I play and I lose in 20 moves, and you know, like I go back to my hotel here and go, wow, I'm like such a moron. I lost 2 classical games with white. Like I just thought, why would I go b4? I know in these positions the knight likes to go here. Then I went here and Pia went here, and I was like, why didn't I go b4? And then here I was like, can I play b4 here? And I see your arrows. I could have gone b4 here. Wow. So
well, I was saying, oh, I think Levy will play b4.
I also was like, can Pia go h5? But I was like,
I said you would play h5.
I would play h5. But yeah, h5 is crazy. Wow, it's like one of the best ones. Okay, so we just played like a high level game.
Yeah.
Queen e5 really surprised me. Yeah, I just told Pia, I was like, I thought d5 was strong here, but it feels like really wrong to play because you just went here, right? So I'm just happy this was like a super interesting game. Like there's a lot to discuss on every move. I was also looking at like bishop g4. I didn't know if I should go rook e1 or f3. Queen e5 surprised me, but that's because it's a move I would like never in my life consider.
Well, pawn takes I think was a great idea because if knight takes, right, then you mentioned as well, then b3, your bishop gets to b2. Yes, looks really nice.
So this is actually funny. This is really psychological. Like when queen e5 happened, so I thought about just going b3. And yeah, we were discussing, can Pia like checkmate me and like knight e5, bishop h3. The reason I didn't play this, I thought knight d4 was really strong. But yeah, I can see here, like, I mean, this just looks really crazy to allow, but you're like, fine. You're completely, I mean, this is, when I saw this, I was like, I don't think I'm that genius. Like, I think this is really hard to deal with. So then I was like, is Pia going to take with a knight? And like I said, it's psychological because I'm thinking like, oh, she's like really, really strong positionally. She's like putting all the pieces on the right squares. But I don't see her idea after the move b3. Like I was like, I don't know. I'm going to go bishop b2. And then she played d. I was like, okay, that is very interesting. I think b4 is kind of forced. Like
I thought that was a great move because otherwise like rook d8, bishop b6, like knight d4, it looks really annoying. So at least you're trying to open the position for your your pieces are really bad. Really silly here for now.
So winning back time with b4 is a good move. And then here we discussed. So I told Pia like as we were walking here, from a distance, I saw bishop e6, d3, takes rook d8, bc, rook d3, knight b4. And I saw it in like 30 seconds. And that's the only time in chess I calculate correctly. Like if you add 15 more minutes, I will always be wrong. So when I saw that like from a distance, like here it's terrible for white unless, okay, I guess there's tricks. Like you could try to win this pawn and maybe give up the bishop or whatever. But when I saw bc knight before, I thought, okay, this is fine. I have 2 bishops. I should be okay. We both thought rook b3 was the best move.
Yeah,
rook c3. Yeah. Rook c3. And
I thought you must have considered this. This was one of the moments that I thought you take on c6 and then you just go back to g2.
No, I saw bishop a4 only.
Yeah, well, the point is that whenever black takes on c5, you have bishop e3. So for example, bishop g2, rook c5, bishop e3. I don't know if you considered this, but I thought, yeah, I mean, rook c4, bishop a7, and 2 bishops. You have that a pawn, and then bishop c5.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, you have no risk. And okay, the computer says equal, but it feels like maybe you can, I mean, it's similar to kind of what happened in the game, but there's no pass c pawn.
Yeah.
But you didn't really look in this direction too much.
No, I did. I just didn't have a chance to go to the confessional.
Oh.
No, I saw all of this. I just, I like, honestly, I missed that she can just play rook c8. Like she doesn't have to play e4, rook c3, bishop c4. I mean, there's so many lines, right? So I was like, oh, that was stupid. She can just defend the pawn. And I thought like rook e5 is great because I have two weaknesses forever. But yeah, I see it's just like always equal.
No, it was fine. It was, this was all good.
I thought rook b1 was smart, and bishop a7.
Yeah, we heard you guys. I thought this was the big moment because I mean, you can see the evaluation says nothing special, but or you can even take on b3 first, like you did. But the rook on b1 is actually not so good. You're like in all these lines, like the c pawn's coming down, you're getting hit with c2. So you take an a7, and then you're just like, all right, rook's behind the pass pawn.
Yeah,
and then a4.
Yeah.
And the bishop comes back to e3.
Yeah, I thought
This is dangerous.
I thought I'm losing this race.
A5.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
It's such a scary
Yeah.
race to see.
Yeah.
A6. Oh, wow.
Yeah, bishop e3.
Wow,
Bishop
wow,
e3.
wow.
But that's the whole point, right? The rook in a1 is so much better placed in
Yeah,
this race.
And then the bishop is
Yeah,
always
it's
able to-
obvious. It's not easy, but conceptually, right? It's like the rook on b1. Okay, you can put on b7, but that's not really doing much. I think this
Yeah.
was the one moment. Like I thought you played extremely well here, and this was the one moment where it's like maybe you could pose some tricky problems.
Yeah, I think it's because I saw this
Mhm.
and rook b7,
Mhm.
which is bishop a7 is still the best move. Okay. Well, I thought rook b7, rook a7.
It's free. We discussed this many years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's free this way too.
Yeah.
But and then yeah,
91, dude.
yeah, no, this is
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, that's interesting. I just was like, oh, my bishop is stuck. How is it ever gonna get? It doesn't have to get out. I just push my pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But rook b1, it's like looks logical, but the whole point, it's like you said in the post-mortem where you could hear, it's like, oh, the a pawn is all I got. So go.
Yeah, bishop a7. Yeah, bishop a7 just push the pawn is
Mhm.
pretty. Yeah, I guess I just saw c5, c4.
I mean, bishop a7, bishop a4 we were looking at. It's just like no pawn push for you.
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
yeah, probably would have.
Yeah. No, but
Like
it's
this
like you play, right? It's like still a game.
Yeah. Yeah, we were discussing. We thought it was unpleasant for black, but nowadays the 70,000 people who watch this live are like, oh, you guys are terrible. It was equal the whole time. So, fun game.
Last classical games tomorrow. How do you feel so far after these three?
I feel much better after this one. I was actually a bit annoyed at myself, like right at the end, because I really didn't want to play rook b8 because I still thought I was trying to press. Like I didn't even know. Okay, for example, I was thinking like, is this endgame, pressable for white? Because you think you were better, so then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like a wuss and bail out, but then I'm like, I don't think I can ever win this position. So I was like, okay, let's make a draw, and it's good to know that the brain worked pretty well today. So yeah, tomorrow will be I think you said yesterday Pia likes playing black or something.
I just said that she doesn't mind what color it is.
I think we both prefer playing black. I like playing black. It's like, yeah, with white.
I said he likes white, but
no.
Looks
What?
like,
How, you don't know me 20 years. No, white is hard. I have trouble with white.
But you can play white like you play black, like 1c3.
Yeah, I should have played c3.
Yeah, you get it to a carrot con.
e5,
c4 was
yeah.
way too aggressive.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's give the floor to hear Pia's thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we get 4 microphones for the rest of the?
No,
It's
we
not-
have
we
4
have
microphones.
6.
We have 6.
We have 6.
So it's not a
It's
having
not a lack of
microphones.
microphones.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought we could like discuss together.
No.
Okay, let's bring in Pia. Hello, Mom.
Good, thank you.
Okay, let me actually just put this up. Hello, Mom.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, go take it. There we go. Mom, I have to start by saying you seem like you were in a very good mood today. You were in very high spirits.
Yes, I don't know. I felt well. I was also very, I thought it got such an interesting position today. Interesting.
You're
day.
enjoying it.
So I was enjoying it, and I was just, I was happy. I was very optimistic. I like my position, but I missed some things. I didn't see this b takes c5. Oh, and then I saw b takes c5, but I forgot that then the knight can jump to b4.
Yeah, so this was the critical moment. If we just go back.
So here, yeah, I wasn't sure. So I wasn't really sure how I should play it. And I just thought if I go some bishop f5, could he just, can he just start defending it or not?
With rook d1?
No, not rook d1. He needs to defend the pawn with this. It doesn't look nice, knight e1, just with the bishop pair. So, but this looks, so knight before again. Oh, he goes to say, no, knight before. Oh, it's tremendous. No, of course not. So, yeah, I always miss knight before. No, I have to go for this, I guess. So yeah, b takes c5 is a very good move. Yeah. So.
But I want to go back a little bit because this was all very exciting. But I want to know, were you ever considering h5 here?
No, I forgot about h5, but this is very typical. Yeah, I forgot about h5. Yeah, so after h5, yeah, what should he play then after h5? This I forgot completely. Should he go?
Because we were kind of talking, is Pia going to do it? Is she not going to do it? And we were just so excited, but then you immediately castled, and so I was just,
you play
96.
Very quickly.
And here as well, h5.
I can go h5 now again. So I guess h5, I think h3 is quite normal to be played, yeah? And then
yeah, exactly, and then just play this out. Maybe you don't want to play this, but we were just curious.
Bishop f5, and what after knight e3? I need to go put the bishop here on. Okay, so you go b4. B4 looks very normal. And
And then maybe you could start playing for maybe queen e6 that you can't castle.
no, he cannot castle, but he will go bishop b2 and knight e3. Okay, as soon as knight e3 is coming, knight e4 is coming. Yeah.
It's just a different game. I was just curious on if you had considered it.
Yeah, no, h5 is very typical to play. It's typical to play also when there's no knight to defend, to stop h4.
On f3, yeah.
On f3. So I just forgot about that plan. I was just very much, so I played this very quickly. I forgot about it completely, but h5 is very logical to play. And what did we have? We had castle. And my plan here was, yeah, we play castle at b4. And now I play queen e5 because this was not my plan originally, but I just realized he will go b4, bishop b2, and then he will open up in the center, and I will just have very big problems. So that's
did you consider d5 as well, or did you not want to play it?
A little bit. I was thinking about d5. Yes, a little bit I was thinking about d5, but I just like queen e5. And I thought it was, I just liked queen e5 very much, but but I know it's dangerous because going to an end game, I have given the bishop pair, but I get more control in the center. But he has I took with the d pawn.
But this was so nice. Like the positional understanding of taking with the d pawn instead of the knight, because it looks kind of funny, but it's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to have more control in the center, and d6 is a little bit a backward pawn. Now it's more control in the center, and it's taking control of the black square. And of course, it was mine to move. It would be fantastic, but it has this b4. He has to go b4. Otherwise, yes. And what did I? I don't know. I go bishop e6. Was that correct? He go d3. And what did I do? Now I took. And I went rook d8. What? Yeah. And if I go bishop f5, but it felt very slow to go bishop f5 here. Yeah.
And then if we go a little bit further,
rook b3. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Here
you said the rook e1 surprised me very much. I was concerned of playing this end game. Yeah. Bishop takes c6, rook c8. And
you thought that he was going to enter this.
Yeah. This is what I expected him to enter. I wasn't sure how it was, but he's playing with the bishop pair. Now he has tried to stop the pawns. So rook e8 was a surprise to me, but I think it's fine also because we can see that the bishop pair is a long-term,
strength and advantage.
Yeah, strength to have. And knight e3. Yeah, I saw this, but I thought I had to take on c5, knight e3, rook b1, just to get less pawns on the board.
We also were considering here this idea of going knight a4, knight d7, with the idea that if he takes, you can play c5.
Yeah, maybe, yes. Okay, but how? Yeah. So what is happening here now?
But this is just completely crazy. Like this was, we only saw it because of the engine, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. I guess you will have to defend. So rook c1, you can go rook c1. Yeah, a little bit. I was looking at it. Yes, a little bit. The idea with c5, I'm not sure.
Rook c1, you have rook c7, and you win the bishop.
No, it's bishop. Bishop 8. Yes, it's bishop 8. Yeah, of course. Bishop 8 is not possible. Rook on b1. Here. So what is the best move here to be played?
So this was interesting.
Yeah, with a knight to a4. Yes. Maybe this was better because I having active pieces and I'm blocking the pawn and I'm actually threatening rook c7. So what is the best move to be played here now? This looks fine for me. So rook e3. This is, you can. So this is the right way to play. Yeah, this was.
It's so hard to see, but yeah,
he has to go rook e3 but then I can just take on c4. We play the same position. And can I not just take a rook e3? Can I not take on c4?
Yeah, I suppose.
And we play this. And now, I'm rook e4. Maybe this is wrong.
But this is really crazy. But it becomes just a very double-edged game, or a bit more double-edged, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was strongest. And the knight e3, rook b1, here take. I was happy you took on b3. Bishop a7, I was concerned about. So here, and now I played, what did I go? Knight c4.
This was really nice, and this is so accurate.
Yeah, because I have these 92 tricks, and I want one bishop to go off the board.
You hated that bishop pair.
Yeah, so that's what I want to
Yeah.
say. And be careful. If you give the bishop pair, you have to get something in conversation. I thought it was very nice, but he had this beautiful night before, which got me out of the rhythm, I would say. I was so happy until I saw that.
Until night before.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling with this draw? Are you happy with the result? How are you feeling?
No, it's fine because I was very happy in the opening, all the things, but I didn't look at h5, which is very natural to play. And but then I realized when he had his night before, realized my position wasn't that good. I thought I was better, and then I realized I will have to fight, yes, not to become worse, because he gets activity, he has the bishop pair. No, but it was I feel fine. I'm very happy that it was drawing the game in the end, because in the end it was only white who could try something. I just had to try to keep the balance. So
and tomorrow we have the final classical game. How are you feeling? Final classical game. You got the white pieces.
Yeah, no, I feel fine. I feel very fine. I think this is it's very, very exciting. We still have 19 more games to go. It's so many games. I played not so many matches. I played some matches, but in the old times when we play matches, it was only classical.
Yeah.
It could be a number of classical that were never rapid and blitz. And then of course in the woman-wide championship, when you made a tie, there was rapid. Sometimes the rapid was tie, and then it was blitz. And so there I played all these formats, but never such a huge number of games.
It is a pretty huge number. We realized that, like, wait, we actually set up 22 games. Like, we didn't realize it until we summed up everything we wanted to do. We're like, 4 plus 6 plus 12. Oh, this is 22. This is quite a lot of games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it was super fun to follow this game as well. It was a nice, it was a well-fought battle, even if it ended up in a draw. And tomorrow we have the final classical game.
Yeah.
Do you think, I told everyone that you did some yoga yesterday. Do you think it was the yoga that...
But it was very good. It's very good. I think it's so important after the game to find a way to take away the game, just to start thinking of something else, because we are playing lots of hours. If I keep on thinking about the game for many hours, I will not relax. So it was very nice to make something different yesterday.
Well, that is amazing. We want to once again give a very big shout out to Take. Check out the app, founded by Magnus Carlsen. We have a QR code over here. You can follow this whole match on Take. You can literally follow all the games over there with comments, with arrows, with everything. So ! Take. Also, got the QR code over there. So download the app and check it out. Very exciting to see a new app in the chess world. So yeah, check that out. Also want to give once again a big shout out to Blitz Fuel. Once again, we're waiting for the energy drinks. My mom will be trying them out, and Levy too. We're excited about that. And thank you also so much once again, Surfshark VPN for sponsoring the prize fund. So yeah, we will be back tomorrow, everybody, 2 p.m. CT, 1 hour before, and it'll be the final classical game of the Pia versus Gotham Battle of Generations. Thank you so much for watching today's stream and today's round, and we will be back tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.